Welcome back. We're doing this again, even though it's supposed to be a video episode. We're back at it with the audio.
Back at it again with the white vest.
We still don't know how to stream on my computer here at home. When we do Resident Evil streams, that's all Garrett's set up. So we're struggle busing.
Yeah.
But that's fine.
I know nothing, so I apologize for my lack of help.
It's fine.
I just show up.
Yeah, and that's fine. Everyone enjoys your audio intros. They think your voice is super great. So I'm assuming people also like this audio episode instead of video episode.
Well, that's nice.
It also works out because we don't have to get dressed.
Yeah.
Still in PJs here.
Yeah.
But anyways, this month we're doing The Shining, which is way bigger than we thought that it was.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen the book The Shining. It's some 700 pages.
We got the ebook version off of what we were on Libby and Hoopla through our library, right? And we're like, oh yeah, we have time. So we got it 2 weeks ago and had to speed read to finish it in time because we didn't realize how big it was.
Yeah, it's massive.
And I stand by my point that I think Stephen King needs a better editor who takes out shit that isn't necessary, because I feel like this could have been a 400-page book and it would have been fine.
There's some stuff. I feel like we're gonna have actually kind of really different opinions about this book.
Perfect. Love it.
Yeah. I think I like how long it is.
I don't.
Mm-hmm.
So my main thing with it is I feel like a large chunk of the start of the book is unnecessary. I feel like we get the same situations from Danny, Jack, and Wendy's POV, and it's unnecessary.
Oh, I feel like it is necessary.
Why do you think it's necessary?
Because you have to understand, because the in my opinion, you have to know how each character has reacted before. You have to see the setup, right? Like, it's an overarching picture of, well, here's the start line, so look at what happens at the end.
Okay.
The only thing that I think is superfluous in this is Grady. The story of Grady.
That's fair. I feel like Grady comes out a lot. And I think it's kind of not super necessary, but like when he gets locked in the closet, like someone's got to let him out. And so I feel like they really have to harp on Grady.
Oh, I mean, so let's begin in the beginning.
In the beginning.
So we have Jack Torrance.
Yep.
With his wife, Winifred,
mm-hmm.
and his son, Danny. And homie's just struggle bussing. He's... so I finally came to the conclusion of he's the artist, right? He's the dreamer. He's the big ideas guy. But he tacked in the quote-unquote American dream of wife, kid, picket fence.
Mm-hmm.
And those things just... Yes.
No, continue. I have a note.
Okay.
That just struck me when you were saying this. Continue.
Those things are not... What's the word?
Compatible.
Well, yeah.
Cohesive. It takes a lot to have both of those.
Yeah, in his idea of what each of those things should be, they're not synonymous, whatever the fuck that word. Simpatico. They don't function together. You're right. Because this idea of the bleeding heart artist that's full of suffering and loss and heartache and puts that on a sheet of paper can't have the wife and kid and picket fence and the good stable job to support them both. He can't have both of these ideas that he wants. And so I feel like that's where a lot of this shit lies.
My note was this is like Sinister.
Yes.
Where he wants to be the book guy but also wants to have the family and the 2.5 kids and the whole thing, and then starts drinking because he can't have both.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I didn't make that connection. I wonder if there was any influence in Sinister from the Shining.
They do have very similar character dynamics, I guess. Not dynamics.
Like archetypes.
Archetypes. Thank you. That word. But anyways, yeah, Jack Torrance, our bleeding artist, was
a teacher at a prep school.
Yeah.
And we learn he lost his job by losing his temper.
Which he has a really rough temper.
So bad.
It's a
fucking
really bad temper. And, like, it's causing him it's making his life fall apart. And I'm jumping ahead.
You're fine.
And so he's getting this job. He's at an interview to get a job at the Overlook Hotel as a caretaker
for the off season.
And during this whole thing, this is why I think it was necessary, right? You're kind of catching these glimpses of the duality of his personality. You see him as I can't believe I have to put up with this shit. I'm better than this. Fuck this guy.
Yeah.
And all of the opinions that he has about me, because none of them are true. He just met me. How dare you embarrass me like this?
Oh yeah, that was a whole thing, because he brings up Jack's history of drinking with a reason.
Yeah.
And that's because the previous caretaker had an alcohol problem, and ended up murdering his entire family and himself. And so Mr. Ullman, the manager of the hotel, is like, hey, I'm bringing this up because the last time, and it's not like fair to generalize with addiction. However, when someone murders them, like everyone, it's a thing that you should be like, hey, I just need to like clarify this is what happened. And on top of that, like, does your wife want to stay here if we just murdered, like if people have been murdered here? Like, is she comfortable? And Jack says, oh, she's got a flair or an interest in ghosts and true crime. I'm sure she'll find it very entertaining.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, Ullman is a dick.
Oh yeah, he's a fucking asshole, but he has to be.
He has to be. That's his job.
His job is to be the asshole manager to keep the hotel running, and he says that. He's like, this is the first time the Overlook in however many years has been in the green, and it's literally because of him.
And he's the one making the hotel money.
Yes. He's
ensured that it has actually started to turn a profit after, I have no idea what year this takes place.
Yeah, great question.
70 something.
Yeah, it's
1970 something.
I think it's the 70s or 80s, because they talk about the 40s, so right after the war being like the whole thing, which in the movie it's the 20s. So they go even like back farther.
I say, yeah, the hotel we know goes as early on as the 1930s. That's what we have history on. They talk about 1935.
I thought it was like 19. Because I thought it was built in, like, 1902.
Maybe. I don't know.
And then it, like... Anyways, it doesn't super matter. But yes, I think it's supposed to be in roughly the 80s. 70s, 80s. And then a lot of the history we get is from about the 40s.
But yeah, so this whole time, the hotel's been being bought and sold and losing money and crashing down and being abandoned, and finally Ullman's the one that's making them money.
Yes.
So he's doing his job well. And Jack's just got big pride.
Yeah, he's got so much fucking pride. It is almost the death of him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
literally. And it destroys a lot of, I feel like, of his, and I'm gonna say the thing that I was gonna say is gonna kind of jump ahead in the story a little bit, but he does have this point where he's talking about the things being done to him.
Yes.
So
yes. Oh my God.
I do kind of get that. I feel like I have so many strong opinions about Stephen King's writing. I'm just gonna ramble this whole time. Yeah. Feel free to jump in whenever.
Let's hear it, because you listen to me ramble on almost a daily basis about Stephen King's writing. So go for it. I want to hear your opinions.
So I enjoy his ideas.
Yes,
I get why he's called the King of Horror. Okay, I understand it because the ideas that he has, the things that he writes about, they're phenomenal. I actually had big anxiety while reading this book, which doesn't happen to me. I can read a horror book and not feel the scared. Yeah, I can read it and go, whatever. I actually had like emotions in this book where I was like, oh, this is kind of like heart racing a little bit. And so like I like his ideas.
Is it the execution?
It's sometimes the execution, my guy. Some of the unnecessary things. I don't feel like sex needs to be involved as it has been in this novel.
I have notes later on about there's a whole sex scene that I don't think should have been in there. Yep. It's unnecessary, and I don't think she would have been okay with it.
I already know that's the one that I disagree with. That's the only one I think is necessary.
No!
Yes. Okay, so just all of the fucking sexual innuendos and sexual things and sexualizing of things that I just don't think needs to happen. But then I do also think that there are great concepts that are in here that he just didn't execute quite well enough.
Okay. Like what?
Or
do you want to wait?
No.
Okay.
Like the idea of these things being done to him. Because I feel like it's shitty, right? Especially when he's explaining it. Like, I don't suck at life. Life keeps throwing shit at me and I can't handle it.
Yeah.
It's not my fault. These things are happening to me.
Right.
And I feel like that really shows because you start to really get this duality of Jack as a person and Jack with that second like personality. When he calls his like subconscious personality, what happens when he drinks, when he sleeps, the thing that comes out when he's unaware or he kind of blacks out. Is the thing that is the monster that's hiding. It's not Jack. It's this weird second personality that happens, and you kind of start to see them mesh a little bit at the Overlook. And so I get this idea of like, it's not me. I know that there is like this other thing that I can't help. Like, I'm working on it. I'm trying to do this to get it away from me, but it keeps coming out. And I don't know if it's like a lack of, I have a big problem sometimes because I give authors a lot of benefit of the doubt because I'm like, what if this is just how our narrator feels, you know? We talk a lot about how Jack's an unreliable narrator.
He's a very unreliable narrator.
And so we get a lot of this from his POV where it's just like, no, it's not my fault. It's something else. And I feel like that's his narrative as a character. Whereas we're not getting it quite as look at this cool idea that I have of like this kind of sort of, they touch on it a lot in this book with Danny, but I think like, I think there is this time that you have to kind of overlay it on Jack. I have this as a note. You have to overlay it on Jack because it's like this separate personality that happens.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll skim through a lot of this first chunk because not a lot of stuff happens before they get to the Overlook. There's information that we can talk about, right? So we learn about Danny seems to have episodes. He has they call him the Invisible Friend. His name's Tony.
I feel like I'm so sorry just thinking about it. I love the idea. He depicts a child very well and like the things that he picks up around adults because he's all pitching a fit. The doctor's like, they're seizures.
Please don't call it pitching a fit.
Please don't call it pitching a fit.
Yeah. I will say Danny as a character, I think, is written really well. I think for me because it's third person, and then we kind of get into the head of these characters, right?
It's third person omniscient.
Yes. My apologies for not including that.
Yeah.
So when we get like some of Danny's POV, I think it doesn't really stay in his POV, and it kind of bugs me sometimes because it feels like it'll be in Danny's POV, and then it'll start talking about Wendy in a very overly sexualized way, and I'm like, that's not how a child would think, and so it throws me for a loop sometimes with when we switch these POVs.
It's because I don't think I'm so sorry.
Why?
As I have so many opinions on books when I read.
That's
and
why.
I apologize.
No, that's why we're doing this. I want to hear them.
Take over. It's because they're Jack's thoughts.
You think
he does that because that's what Jack thinks. He's so obsessed with his dad and being loved by his dad and being like his dad that he starts thinking like his dad, and he has to listen to, we know that Jack and Wendy are a sexual ass couple.
Yeah.
And that's something that they think about a lot. And he's in their heads thinking, like hearing them think these thoughts. So when he thinks about his mom, he's thinking, that's my mom, but then he's also stuck in this, oh, that's my lover. It's a weird Freud thing, but he's stuck with both of those both of those opinions because he's stuck in his dad's head so often.
Interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, we were talking about how Danny has episodes.
No, this is fine. So yes, I'm just gonna again skip over before they get over to the Overlook, which is like 200 pages, 300 pages before we get to them actually being at the Overlook. Which is, we learn Danny has these episodes where they don't really explain it, so he kind of like blacks out, and we do get like Danny's POV of him on he's waiting for Jack to come home from his interview, and he forces himself into a quote unquote episode, which is like he's conscious but not, like his body is still aware but his conscious mind is elsewhere, and it's Tony, who is his invisible friend who is off in the distance, and so he gets called by Tony to kind of like what's it called? The sleep thing where you like
where
you
projection, astral projection.
It's like an astral projection thing where his body is there, and like the second.
Did you say wee?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where his body is where it is, but the second part of him like wanders, right? His brain wanders. And we learn he can do this, and that's how he reads his parents' mind. He picks up on these things, and Tony will show him signs and stuff, but he's 4 and can't read. And he's like, I can read pizza, an emergency, and some other words, but I don't know what any of this is, Tony. What is this thing, right? So it kind of shows that Danny from the get-go, from being born, pretty much has this. And we get it from Wendy's POV that he was born with a cowl. Is that how you say that? C-A-U-L. Which is a membrane over the face. And apparently it's very rare, and she talks about how she doesn't believe in the wives' tales about it. Well, the wives' tales are, I looked into this because I was like, what the fuck is this? Is that your kid has second sight.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's like, that's why she thinks about it so often. She's like, I don't believe in that. But my kid is weird. And so her brain like sticks in that thing of like, because she screamed. She saw her kid for the first time and she's like, he doesn't have a face, and like screamed, because we get the whole history of their lives up to Danny being this age pretty much from everyone's point of view. And so throughout the book, there's this underlying thing of Wendy, until she accepts that Danny has second sight, or what we'll learn to know as it's called the shining or the shine. She has it in her head that he was born with a cowl, like this makes sense to me, type thing. And Jack doesn't see it that way. Jack is your stereotypical man in a horror movie of kid's got some intuition. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, well, and I feel like there's another time when that pride comes in where he's like, no, my kid's just really fucking smart.
That's fair.
My kid gets it.
Well, because we also see that from Danny's point of view where he's like, yeah, mommy and daddy think they're bright, and so I'm bright.
Yeah. They're intelligent, so I must be as well. So yeah, I feel like a lot of that is not just, I mean, yeah, it is man in a horror film, because obviously. But I do think it is, again, that pride where he's just like, no, that's my boy. I got brains, so he got brains.
That's fair. So we get also the history of what's happening, and we talked about it a little bit. So Jack was a prep school teacher and lost his job. And we don't really know at this point why he lost his job, just that it had to do with a kid named George Hatfield. And do we learn at this point that he slashed the tires? I can't remember.
No, all we know is that he talks about losing his temper. That's all they talk about, is he lost his temper.
And he lost his temper with Danny, and he lost his temper. Yeah. So it's a whole thing, and this is kind of their last chance. Jack says it while he's getting interviewed, like, he has to go thank Al, who got him this job, because they would be fucked otherwise. They had to move from their big house over in, I don't remember where they lived. It wasn't Maine. They end up in Maine at the end of the book again. But they had to move from somewhere to Colorado because he lost his job and they can't afford, they were living like this pretty well-off lifestyle, and we're talking about like buying a house and maybe having a second kid and doing all these kinds of things. And then he lost his job, and so now they're in Colorado in like a 2-bedroom apartment and are barely scraping by. So he has to take the seasonal job at the Overlook, which we did the math. It was 9 months.
Yeah. Oh, it's insane. Honestly, this is the part that I feel like is absolutely ridiculously impossible for this hotel. They're open 3 months out of the year. And I get this idea of like, oh, we have to be worried about the snow. They're there for 3 months before the snow hits.
Before it hits bad, yeah.
Before it hits bad enough that people can't drive it. And so I feel like at the very least, they could have had it open for another 2 months.
Well, but we kind of talked about this already, but how much money, they're in the green now, right? So how much of it was, it's cheaper to barely heat the hotel with a caretaker and then have it open for 3 months where we spend a lot of money, but we have a bunch of rich clientele, that balance. And we talked about, like, with Ullman, they were probably gonna, like, if this continued in a green path, they might have extended it out longer into those months, but because of money, and they've only ever been in the red.
I guess that's fair. It does, and I guess there is an exclusivity.
Exclusivity?
Yeah. Like a when you're only open, you're this party, like you're the hotel, and you're only open 3 months a year.
You gotta get in.
Who's getting in?
Yeah,
I guess is fair. Like that probably makes it very illustrious.
Yeah, and then on that point though, they're like nuns.
Yeah.
So I don't know, because the hotel used to be cater to the like 1% and these big boys and that kind of stuff, but when they're there, it's kind of like a ghetto. Like there's a playground now. Like it's kind of family friendly. I don't know.
It does still seem to be a richer clientele.
That's fair. Like with Mrs. whatever her name is, who does not want to pay with anything but her
American Express,
even though they stopped taking it a year ago.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah, so I guess I can see that. There is kind of that, oh, if you're in type dealio. So I can understand that, I guess. But yeah, it's just ridiculous. 9 months. There's 12 months a year, and they're closed for 9 months.
That's insane.
That's insane.
I mean, from what the end mid-November though, up until it's bad snow.
Yeah.
Like you can't even get to the hotel in a car, like snowboat. Like you have to do a snowmobile or like a dog sled to get up there. It's that bad.
Yeah. So I do guess that is fair, and it becomes like a safety issue, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, that is the part that I was like, holy shit. 9 months, you're closed.
And then we talked about this too. Do they have a sister hotel? What happens to all of the staff for those 9 months? Where do they go? Because at least 2 of them go to Florida.
Yeah.
And so, like, do they have a sister hotel? We have no idea. It's not explained. It's not important. I was just curious.
Yeah, I assume it's a sister hotel because Ullman is the manager there. There's 2 managers. Ullman is the manager. And Halloran works there.
Halloran
works there.
That'd be my only guess. They have a hotel in Florida and a hotel in Colorado. Sure. Why not?
Yeah. Anyways.
So, we finally get to them packing up. Wendy has her reservations about going to the hotel. She's like, I don't really want to do this, like, with him losing his temper and those kinds of things. But she's also like, that's my husband, and if this is what he wants to do, this is what we have to do. And so I get a little confused here, because in the movie she asks if Tony wants to go, and I don't think she asks, but I think Danny says that Tony doesn't want to go. Is that right?
I don't remember that.
I don't either. It's a little rough. I just finished watching the movie. The Shining episode obviously comes out tomorrow. It's Sunday, so go watch me and Garrett talk about the movie tomorrow, where I do compare and contrast a little bit between the book and the movie, even though I really tried not to. It was hard. If you didn't know, Stephen King hates the movie adaptation. He thinks it was really poorly done. And it's not great.
The adaptation is not great.
I treat it like, and I say this tomorrow, Resident Evil, right? You've heard me talk about Resident Evil, the movies. I love those movies, but they are nothing like the game. The movies are fan fiction of the game, and I see the same thing with this, is like, Kubrick took the Shining book and was like, this is a great concept, I'm gonna make it my own. Which isn't great, because, like, you took someone else's concept and then said, I'm gonna steal everything about it and make it my own. So I don't understand why Stephen King doesn't like it. I don't think it was terrible. Like, I don't think it's like, it's a classic movie, but it's definitely not The Shining.
Honestly, yeah, I would agree. The Shining itself is not a bad movie. It's a movie that I've enjoyed watching several times. It's a good classic movie. It's just in comparison to the book, where you know where it started at, there's just a lot of elements that I think could have been added in that would have explained a lot more.
Yeah. And I'll talk about it tomorrow. It's fine.
It's the classic tale of book to movie transition, though. It happens all the time.
Yeah. And the biggest one for me, like, I really wish... So the Overlook Hotel, to explain it, in the movie, right, it's this big hotel. In the book, it's, again, the big hotel, but you have a lobby level, a first floor level, second, third, and an attic. So it's technically, a 5-story building? And then outside in the movie, obviously, there's the hedge maze. Well, in the book, it's a topiary. There's bushes shaped like lions, and a dog, and a buffalo, and a bunny and stuff, and there's, like, a playground out front. So I really, like, you couldn't have done it. There's no way you could have done that in the movie, but to see the topiary and what happens, I think would have been so cool.
Yeah.
Because the maze is, like, a fun thing, whatever, and, like, it helps with the whole mindscape thing of, like, what's reality, where are you type thing, but it's not my favorite. I really wish you could have seen the topiary. I do want to see, there's a 4-hour-long version of the movie that isn't done by Kubrick. I think it was originally, like, a TV miniseries that they compounded into just a 4-hour-long movie that is supposed to be, like, a direct adaptation.
Oh, that'd be sick.
And I really want to watch that. It's on Tubi.
Okay. Yeah, we'll check it out.
Yeah. Anyways, so that's the outlook. The outlook. That's the overview of the hotel.
Of the Overlook.
Yeah. So that's what it looks like on the outside. There's also, like, a shed. There's a roquette. Is that how you say that? Roquet?
I have no idea.
It's the
mallet game.
It's the original version of croquet. Croquet is, their words, not mine, the bastardization of, I think it's roquet. And so they have a roquet. A roque court and that kind of stuff. So there's that, and there's a truck that they can use, like a hotel truck. While they're there, everyone's still kind of leaving and packing up, and Halloran talks to the family. He's the head. They call him a cook, and I'm so upset about this. He's the head chef.
He is a chef.
He is the head chef at this whole fucking hotel, and they call him a cook throughout the entire book.
Yeah, so that is the part that... Sorry to interrupt. We'll cut back to this, but that is the point where I think sells me on this is the sticking to the narrative of
Jack,
of our characters, because Wendy kept calling him a cook while they were there. And remember, and from Wendy's POV, Halloran had corrected her. I'm a chef.
Oh.
And so the fact that they continue to call him a cook makes me feel like This is their, because that's how they think.
And if you also didn't, Hollerin's a black man, and these are white folk, so it also feels like a racism issue. There's a lot of racial slur, the racial slur in this book, and it gets brought up way more frequently than it ever. I mean, it shouldn't be in the fucking book. So that's a thing too. If you read this book, it's all over the place.
Yeah, it's aggressive.
Very aggressive. And just, again, the undertones of racism or the overt tones of racism, right? Them specifically calling him a cook when he's the head fucking chef of this grand hotel type thing. Well, Halloran shows them around the kitchen, shows Wendy around the kitchen of, hey, this is the stove you should use. This is all the food. You guys are welcome to all of it. You can eat here for a year and never have the same meal type deal. And we learn later he pokes at Danny and for the shine, and they get a little communication back and forth, and he's like, oh, that's cool. And so I can't remember exactly what he says for Danny at the start of it, but he ends up asking him,
he calls him Doc.
He calls him Doc for the start, and they question how he knows they call him Doc. And I think, like, we knew a Doc. Is that like a common nickname? That's weird. I besides Doc, I hadn't heard it before, like, as a consistent nickname.
Bugs Bunny.
Okay, but Bugs Bunny uses it as almost like sarcasm, like, what's up, Doc? Like,
I don't know where it comes from. So maybe it did start as sarcasm. Maybe it was a dig. Maybe.
But anyways, we learn that Halloran has the shine as well. It's not super, like, they go through the hotel, do the whole thing. We learn about the boiler. We learn about the whole situation with the hotel. He does a very good job of over-explaining every floor in this fucking hotel. And yes, it makes sense, and it has to be because it's foreshadowing for the future, but some of it didn't fucking matter.
Yeah, there is a lot of extra superfluous stuff that goes into this, but it is hard to get through.
I don't care about the color of the silk wallpaper and then how the flooring, and it doesn't matter.
I know. There is a lot of stuff that doesn't matter. There's a lot of stuff that I feel like, again, giving the benefit of the doubt, I feel like was kind of thrown as a what do you need to pay attention to, you know? Like a little curveball.
Okay.
Maybe not. Maybe he's just kind of like another one of those fucking guys that feels like you have to describe every single fucking thing because you have zero trust in your reader.
Except he doesn't explain what the characters look like. Except the women.
Yeah.
We only ever get to know.
Well, we know what Jack looks like.
No.
Yeah, he's 6 foot with red brown hair and a beard.
He has a beard?
Yeah, not to start with.
Oh.
We
know what Halloran looks like because he calls him he pretty much calls him fruity. He's like this pudgy little man.
Yeah.
5'5", little boy over here. He's weird about
Ullman, yeah.
Sorry, not Halloran, Ullman.
Yeah. We know
anyways.
what Ullman looks like because he has, uses it as,
Insults.
Yeah.
So we get the whole hotel in the presidential suite because Ullman, this is his pride and joy. He walks them through all of the suites of, oh, this is who stayed here and this is who stayed there. And when they're in the presidential suite, which has a very fantastic, amazing view of these Colorado mountains, Danny sees blood in brain matter, and he doesn't understand it's brain matter, but you understand it's brain matter by these gray little flecks on the wall in the bathroom, and he has to look away. What Halloran ends up explaining to him is that he shines. That's where we get the term shining from, because Danny didn't call it that. And that there are things in the hotel that aren't great. They're the past or present, and they all kind of mix together, but they're like pictures in a book. And they're not going to hurt you. Just if you see something, close your eyes, look away, come back, it'll be gone. But stay out of room 217 and the topiary.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the two places you cannot go. You tell a kid that, what are the two things that... He actually, for a very long time, stays away from the topiary. He is not having it with the topiary.
No. So,
I'm jumping ahead.
Yeah.
It's hard because there's this
you're right, because it is the past and the present all taking place in these pages. So it's hard to keep a timeline because everything is happening
like at once.
At once.
And so
it's all very quick. They're there for 4 months.
Total, yeah.
December 2nd.
Yeah.
Is like
they don't even get to
Christmas. Like D-Day.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And they skip the entire first month, or first 3 weeks of them being in the hotel. Mm-hmm. Because once everyone leaves, once we get all of this stuff and Danny sees stuff and he calms down a little bit, they skip 3 weeks and we get Jack replacing shingles on the roof.
So, like, it's not a very long... Excuse me.
It's not a long time at all.
It's not a long time at all. So, it is kind of hard to, like, give a timeline without jumping ahead and jumping back and doing all this stuff. I do think the things that need to be stated are Wendy is a worrywart. Wendy's a worrier. She's a big worrier. I hate to say this, God, I sound horrible. I get a lot of Jack's frustrations at her. I'm frustrated with her a lot as well.
Really?
Yeah. But she's and I feel like maybe because I'm also a worrier, so maybe that's where my frustration lies, is I see a lot of myself in that, and she lets it control her a lot. She's a big, and she even says it, she's like, it's not just you, it's everything. I'm scared of the world, and Danny is fragile.
Yeah.
And so she talks about how she's scared about being locked up there. What happens if Danny goes into a fit and they can't get down to the hospital? What happens if they run out of food? What happens? Like, there's so many things that she's just having so many anxieties about when it comes to the Overlook. But she does it anyways because it's good for Jack. And there's a lot of things that I feel like happen and that kind of show you in those first few pages how much Wendy is willing to do for Jack, but also to have to stay, to keep the life, to keep her dream of husband, kid, picket fence alive. The things that she's willing to do, to ignore, to keep that dream alive. And I feel like there's a lot of that duality with her as well that we get, of, like I was talking about with Jack, there's like this other monster that hides away. Hers is, she also has a monster in the closet, and I feel like instead of separating out the things that she needs to separate from it, she's like, this is my anxiety, I'm putting it away. I'm not picking and choosing. I'm not gonna, this is like genuine. Could be a concern. Anything that scares me is all one big monster, and I'm gonna push it away.
Interesting. Because, I understand Wendy a lot. And we get some of her backstory. She has a very controlling mom. Her dad is dead. And we get from her POV that she has thought about leaving Jack. Mm-hmm. And anytime she thinks about it, she's like, what would we do?
I would say there is also to add on to her worry about Danny, her sister died when she was her sister died when they were young. Her sister was 10 when she died.
I thought she was 6 and Wendy was 10.
Oh, maybe.
I think it was her younger sister.
Okay, yeah. I got those mixed up. But yeah, they were kids when her sister died. And so this isn't a lot, like, some of this stuff is kind of unwarranted. She lets her brain take over a little bit in these times of anxiety, but she has a basis of, hey, the world can take just very quickly. Yeah. And that breaks people. And she's like, I can't handle that. So she's like preemptively trying to figure things out before they even happen. So,
and not become her mom in the process.
And not become her mom in the process.
Which she sees a lot of her mom in herself, and it's a whole big deal. And Jack calls her out on it at one point, and he's like, wow, that's a great impression of your fucking mom. And I'm like, you goddamn asshole.
Can I tell you the idea? There is like this overarching idea of hereditary throughout the book. Did you notice that? Jack and his dad, Wendy and his mom, and Danny with the both of them. Mm-hmm. That's the note I made, was that Wendy comments on it. She's like, this is jumping all over the place, you guys. I'm so sorry. There is no
we have not stuck to a timeline
at all. But if you read it, you'll know and you'll get it and go, I couldn't. Maybe you could put together a timeline. If we sat down and just talked ourselves through it, we probably could, but we're not those type of people.
No, and how I can't explain it is me and Garrett talk a lot about this in the podcast of when you are in one location, like Grave Encounters. I've made you watch Grave Encounters. You're in one location and it's so hard to remember what happened when because everything is happening in those same locations. And so we're at a fucking hotel. Everything is happening inside the hotel, and so it's hard to remember what things happened at what time, like without writing out a physical timeline of, okay, this thing happened first, then this thing, then this thing. It's all in the same, like, 4 locations in the fucking hotel.
Yeah. But anyways, Wendy says it. This is the note that I made in the book that I thought was really interesting. Wendy says, like, Danny's turning into his own person. Like, he's getting to an age where his personality is forming, and he's no longer just the accumulation of Wendy and Jack.
Yeah.
He's starting to have his own ideas and his own thoughts and his own personalities. But you can see this kind of similarity. You get a lot of the worrying. Danny has a lot of worry. He has a lot of anxiety. He has very big anxiety.
He has such big anxiety.
And I feel like, as shitty as this is, I feel like we can say that Stephen King's a little bit of a misogynist, maybe a big misogynist, but a little bit comes out in his books. And I feel like that's the thing that he took from his mom.
Misogyny?
No, the anxiety, the worrying, because that's what women do, right?
Yeah.
That's a woman thing, is to worry. But he gets that kind of like addictive thing from his dad. Did you notice that there's this scene where Jack's like, I just need a drink. I need a drink. And he's like sitting there and he's fighting the I can't drink, but there's like the urge to do it and this fighting sensation, and he's like trying not to give into it, and he kind of is, and we get that scene at the bar where he's like, I'm gonna go have a drink. And then it cuts to Danny standing outside of room 217 going, I can't go in. I'm not gonna go in. I shouldn't go in. But I have the key. I grabbed the key.
It's always been in my pocket.
It's always been in my pocket. I shouldn't go in. And then he goes in. And so you kind of see like that, like Danny may be starting to form his own little quirks, but he is very much his parents' kid, where he's like, can't resist that temptation. He has a hard time. He knows that it's bad. He's been told that it's bad. He's been shown that it's bad. And he cannot resist the temptation.
Well, and the other thing too is he's picking up his Jack's mannerisms. Right?
Oh, so my God. Yeah, that's the part. Oh, that's also what I said. I was like, I don't know. I literally, what I said, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
I said, Danny and Jack have a lot of things in common. Personality, or because Jack acts like a child? Unclear.
That's fair on both. So Jack is a recovering alcoholic, right? He has been sober for 18 months. He counts it in months.
Yeah.
By the time they get to the Overlook.
20.
Is it 20?
20 months.
And so
well, 18, I guess, by the time they get, because it's 20 at the first bar scene.
Okay. So the Overlook has no alcohol in it. It's been wiped clean. Holleran explains that all of the staff drank it, and then plus, due to Grady, I believe Ullman is like, nope, we're just not gonna have that here, right? Plus, it's probably expensive alcohol, and you don't want your caretaker drinking all of your expensive alcohol when they're already gonna eat all of your expensive food.
Yes.
In my opinion. Well, one of Jack's behaviors due to his alcoholism was wiping his mouth. Like, he was Wendy explains it, like, trying to get rid of the excess liquid or moisture from his lips. Well, he's not drinking, so there's no extra moisture, so he's just rubbing his lips raw throughout the whole movie. He has a handkerchief, and he just wipes his mouth and stuff. And Wendy, later on, 2 months in? Probably at the start of November, I think is when she says it. All of his alcohol tendencies, all of his things that happened while he was drunk are back, and he can't drink because there's nothing here. And she's like, I don't know what the fuck is happening.
Yeah. It's interesting because he's picking up these old habits.
His temper's back, the wiping of the lips, chewing Excedrin. I could not. And they talk about in the book how that can also be addictive, as chewing aspirin and Excedrin, and I didn't know that. But like when he gets, oh my God, Okay, so before they get snowed in, we gotta get like on some kind of timeline here. Okay, so before they get snowed in, they make weekly trips down to Sidewinder, which is a close by town. It's the close by town, the closest by, the nearest town to them. To Danny is obsessed with learning how to read because he keeps getting shown these signs in his dreams and by Tony that he can't read because he's 4. So he is obsessed with learning how to read.
He's 5 now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He's 5. He's 5 now.
He's 5. And his whole thing, by the time shit starts to hit the fan, he's at a 2nd grade reading level because he wants to be able to read that bad. And Wendy says he's like his dad. Like, again, with the addictive personality of him, he's like, I am going to read. I don't care about anything else. I'm going to read. And he doesn't go out to the playground. He doesn't really play. He doesn't really do much until he's just reading. All of his free time is spent trying to learn how to read, which is crazy. But so they go down to this town every once in a while, and Jack, while he was looking through the boiler room, there's a bunch of papers and stuff, and he ends up finding a scrapbook.
Oh, okay. Before we get to there, yes. I feel like we have to start at the beginning of them alone. Because we kind of hit on it, but he's changing the shingles.
Oh, the initial.
Nest. We skip over those 3 weeks. Danny and Wendy are in town. He's doing work, caretaker jobs. He's changing out the wasp's nest, or he's changing out the shingles, and he's like, there's probably wasps up here. I'm a smart guy. I understand that this is like the ideal situation for wasps to live in. But then he starts thinking about his book. Oh, he's writing a play.
Yeah. A play about a teacher.
A play about a teacher and who hates his fucking student.
Because the student is a rich boy who gets his entire life handed to him by his daddy. And
you don't understand. Like, I didn't really function how able Jack was to other situations until you get his actual realization of he's writing about himself.
He's writing about himself and George.
And he has that realization when he's finishing the play.
In the last fucking scene.
Which
is later on, but we can put it, yeah.
It really shows his ability to take something and go, not me. Not I.
That's not me. And then we learn about his other writing, too, where he has, like, all of his other stories that have been published, because the whole reason he got hired at the prep school is because he published 3 short stories. And one of them got picked up by Esquire, and a la Sinister, that's the only thing he can focus on. That's the thing he keeps talking about, how he's going to be the next big writer and he's 30 and blah, blah, blah. And he got picked up by Esquire. Of course he can do this, right?
Yeah.
Well, as we learn more about the story, it was like about a drunk alcoholic father, or like
no, one of his stories, well, maybe, but the one story that stood out to me was the child molester. Monkey.
Yeah, that's right. That's the one he talks about. There's a child molester, and he's like, I can totally empathize with him.
So, like, yeah, he talks about how his ability to write well is his ability to understand the character, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of the aspects about his character. He can see it and he can understand it.
And he always likes his characters.
And he always likes his characters.
Except for
But he
Decker?
cannot no.
I thought it was
Decker was the teacher.
I thought it was the professor. Is it?
It's the
student.
The student.
I can't remember his name.
Like the student. I'm not that far away from him if you want to look it up. I don't know if you care.
No, it's okay.
He can't like the student. He starts to feel too bad for Decker, and he can't like the student. The student's the bad guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's writing a play. That was the ideal part about this job. He could work and he can write. And so he's thinking about this play, and he gets stung by a wasp. And he's like, shit. Well, then while he's taking care of this wasp's nest, he's thinking about, oh, well, I'm distracted, and while I'm distracted, this wasp came and got me, and that's a lot like life. Like, you stick your hand in, and it's the great wasp nest of life, and if you stick your hand in, you gotta pull your hand out. But then the wasps keep coming, and you keep getting stung, and so he starts off with this realization of, like, I upset the nest. I did that. I pissed it off.
And yeah, I'm dealing with the consequences
dealing with the consequences, but then it turns into this, these are happening to me. It's not my fault. I didn't do that thing.
It's happening to me, and no one can blame you for how you react when you're getting attacked.
Yes.
Is what it turns into instead, because you're just trying to save your own ass.
Yep.
And now his whole thing about everything that has happened up to this point, his drinking, because we also learned that, so Al, the guy who helped him get this job, was also an alcoholic, and they were drunk driving one night, and they hit a bike in the middle of the road.
Mm-hmm.
They could not find the owner of the bike. It never got published in the newspaper that someone died. Like, as far as they know, they only hit a bike. Like,
but it was a bike in the middle of the road.
Yes.
And that is what scared them.
Yes. Why was it there? Did they miss the body? All those things. And since that night, that is when him and Al both decided that they were going to stop drinking. And they were going to be sober. And Al, anytime we hear Al, he's like getting on with his life. He's like, yeah, I'm sober and I'm doing this. And every time he talks about something good, Jack cuts him off and is like, yeah, I got to go. My wife's calling me.
Yeah, I do think there is, like, also just that showing of, like, once again, he does talk about, like, I was like, hey man, like, I you know, you gotta buck up at some point. And Jack goes, well, you had shit handed to you. Daddy made sure that you were good. You know, he doesn't say it exactly like that, but he does point out, like, you don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah,
your drinking was fun on top of fun. My drinking was, I needed something because I hate life.
Yeah.
And life hates me. So you could stop drinking and they're still good for you on the other side of that. When I stopped drinking, it took away the only thing that was giving me joy because I have nothing else.
Which is so shitty. He has a wife and fucking kid.
It is, but, like, I and this is where, like, I'm a lot like Jack. I can feel for a character. I get it, though. Like,
no,
that stress of, like, he has a wife and kid, right? Which should be beautiful and wonderful, but the only thing he can think about is, I can't take care of them. They're another thing I have to take care of. I have to take care of me. I have to take care of my wife. I have to take care of my son. I have to take care of a house. I have to take care of, you know, like, there's just every overarching fucking thing. And it is like this, I hate to say it, but it is like the mindset of what men had to go through, you know? Like, there was no, you take it on the fucking chin over and over and over again. And there was plenty of fucking, I mean, women were on drugs, but there were plenty of fucking alcoholics in these times, because that's just what the idea was, is no matter what you fucking get, you take it on the chin and you do, you know?
Yeah, and we see that at the end of the book too, Halloran kind of forces those ideals onto Danny as well.
You be a man about it.
Yeah, because we'll get to it here in a little bit, but yeah, so I understand where Jack comes from with the alcoholism and with this kind of stuff. It's just, it's the mindset he has that shit keeps happening to him and it's not his fault. Is that it's he's like, well, it wouldn't have happened if XYZ didn't happen. And so it's XYZ's fault that it happened. It's not me. I'm not the problem.
Yeah, I do think that, like, that was kind of like what I was talking about before, is he kind of starts somewhere, which shows, like, which I think is, like, his base, right? Who he is as a person. He's like, I'm an alcoholic, and that caused a lot of problems. And I know it comes because I had a traumatic childhood, and I have to deal with those things. But then he starts to sit, and it's like this other thing comes in and takes over and is like, no, it's not my fault. I didn't choose any of that. It's not my fault that this happened. It's not my fault, you're right, that XYZ happened. It's their fault. It's that thing's fault, not mine. And so you kind of see, like, this, like, overarching thing. And I think it's his dad.
You think it's his dad? So I liked your OG take on this, where it was just like his this second personality trait, right? Like he understands that subconscious him is an asshole. And then when he gets to the Overlook, instead of it being the subconscious assholeness, it then starts becoming the Overlook. That is now the subconscious section of himself that is saying, no, you're not the problem. No, everything's great. Like, you're perfect.
Well, I guess that's fair, right? It could be because, like, I thought it was his dad in, like, he took on his father's personality.
Oh, he so did.
Because Danny talks about how he has two voices in his head. It's not just Jack's thoughts anymore. There's two voices in his head.
Well, yeah, I thought that was the Overlook.
Oh, yeah, I took it as, like, that other personality being, like, his dad. But the Overlook makes sense.
Yeah.
That would make that actually makes a lot more sense than ignore everything I just said about his dad. I'm not dumb, I promise.
No, I think
I definitely picked up on it being the Overlook.
No, because you're right though. Because his dad was, I believe, a nurse or something along those lines, and was a major alcoholic, and we learn that he was always drunk, and to a point where Jack loved him and then was simultaneously scared of him and didn't understand until he was older that everyone else in the house hated their dad. He was the only one who enjoyed his dad up until his dad died?
Yeah, he loved his dad.
I just think about this. So he used to come home and they'd play the elevator game. Yeah. And so the elevator game was like he would just grab little Jackie boy and he'd throw him up in the air and just be like, woo! Elevator style, until if he was too drunk, he would just dump Jack over his head and hit the ground. And so it was this weird, it feels like the kind of like a gambling thing, right? Where it's like, this could be really good or really bad. And it's like that hype up dopamine hit of like, is it going to be good or bad today?
It shows a lot of where Danny gets that personality trait from. I love my dad no matter what.
Yeah.
My dad is not these things. My dad is not.
Well, it's the toxic relationship, right? Where it's like when things are good, they're so good. And then you can ignore all of the bad stuff that happens. And it just sucks that it's with parentals and you literally cannot leave.
Yeah.
And I mean, Wendy's the same way though, right? Like this relationship is toxic. It is not a healthy marriage. It hasn't been for maybe ever. We don't know too much about when they first got together, but it hasn't been great since Danny was born. And shit kind of hit the fan. What we do end up learning too, if you know anything about The Shining, Danny got his arm broken.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It was by Jack.
Jack broke Danny's arm when he was 3.
And the way Jack describes it is that Danny was, what's the phrasing? He was so self-satisfied with the destruction that he made in Jack's office that he had to be punished because he was going against his will or trying to prove him. It was so weird. The dynamic that Jack already had in his head about how Danny was trying to undermine him, and then you combine it with the hotel influencing those thoughts more, right? Of, yeah, you're right, your son is undermining you, he is the problem here. Like, we just did Oculus too, where the mirror is the big bad, right? And the hotel in this is obviously the big bad. But it's like Legion. There's so many big bads that are influencing Jack from every fucking point of view and everyone else, but like so differently. For whatever reason, it's not hitting Wendy. And Grady says this later. Grady's like, maybe we should have gone after your wife instead. And you don't know why they didn't go after her.
The only thing, so I feel like, wow, we really are just jumping around.
We're jumping everywhere. There is no cohesive...
There's just so many big thoughts on this, and I feel like that does show that overall it is a good book.
Yeah, no, we could talk about this book for a long time.
So here's the thing about the sex real quick, because this is what I was going to point out earlier.
Oh, yes.
Is I feel like Wendy and Jack do have a very toxic, rocky relationship, and Wendy ignores a lot of the red flags. I feel like these sex things happen. Like that specific sex scene that happened was in the middle of them kind of arguing. And I feel like it's because their relationship has gotten to a point, and you can kind of see it because there's a lot of sex that happens behind the scenes, and that I'm okay with.
Yeah, no,
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But like, and not to say I'm a smut reader, by the way. Like I thoroughly enjoy a smut book. I'm not against like a good R-rated read, sexually or otherwise. But I like it to make sense, or I like it to just be a fucking smut book. Like if you're gonna have a horror book and you're gonna throw a bunch of fucking sex in it, it better make sense. And so my thing with this specific scene is I don't know if it was intended for this, because with how much sex is thrown in here, I don't know if King is just, that's how he writes. But the thing that it did for me as a reader is like, this is the only thing they know how to talk about anymore. This is the language that they can know how to speak, because, you know, they talk about sex being a language in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
This is the only thing they have left. This is where they're cohesive. This is where they meld together. They can't have conversation anymore. They don't agree about their life. They don't agree about the Overlook. They don't agree about Danny. Because Wendy is starting to get to that. Our son is different. He has these powers and he has these things. And Jack can't admit that his son has these things, because then he has to admit these things have happened. And he's like, no, he's just smart. And he has episodes. He doesn't have the second sight, so they can't agree on anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so the only thing that they have that they can cohesively be on is sex.
Interesting. Okay, so we'll get to that then.
Mm-hmm.
We get through the 3 months. We'll go back to... Okay.
Oh,
so
yes.
we get through the 3 weeks. Everything is pretty okay, but this wasp nest thing is kind of like a turning point for Jack. I feel like once this happens, shit starts hitting the fan in Jack's mind.
It does. Because Jackie boy is like, oh, how cool would it be to give my kid a dead wasp's nest?
I had one.
I had one as a kid. I loved it.
So he gets a bug bomb, which... I think it just smokes it out. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's language. This was written before our time.
Mm-hmm.
So he does it, leaves it for 2 hours, whatever, pulls it out, shakes it out.
Mm-hmm.
Like he says, he makes sure it's empty and all this kind of stuff. And he waits for Wendy and Danny to come home from Sidewinder, where they were doing Christmas shopping.
They went Christmas shopping.
Because they don't know when the snow's going to hit, so they did it early. And Danny got a new VW Bug, and I can picture this. Do you know what car this is? Have you seen it? It's got like the green monster coming out of the top, and it's like, I know exactly what this car is. I don't know if that's just, I don't know why I do, but I can picture this car perfectly in my head. And he's allowed to put it together once he can read at a second grade level, or finish, what is it, Jane and Dick, or whatever the book is. Then Daddy will help him put it together, and that was his present. And Jack's not allowed to look in the car because they're presents for him as well. Whatever. So then he gives Danny the wasp nest, and Wendy's fully against it, which 50-50 on that. Like, wasp nest freaked me out. We just had to deal with 3 in our backyard, and this one sounds huge.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even... If you guys haven't seen a wasp nest, like, it kind of honeycombs out when it's small, right? It's open face, not like a beehive. So it's open face until they get big, and then they get big. And then they enclose more. But to start with small ones, they're open face. So this thing has to be fucking huge. And I just dealt with one in our backyard, which was, I don't know, maybe the size of like a crumble cookie, that had, it was like watching ants crawl out of it when I sprayed it with wasp spray. So I can't imagine how many wasps are in this thing. And he leaves it for 2 hours, does the whole bug bomb thing, says it's going to be fine. And Danny puts it by the head of his bed.
Mm-hmm. He's so excited.
It's the coolest thing.
Yeah. And I will say, like, I do, because we were talking about the toxicity of their relationship, and you know, this idea of when it's good it's great, and when it's bad it's horrible.
Yeah.
Things are going so well for this family.
This right now, they're so good. Wendy's happy.
Wendy's like,
Jack's
I can't
happy.
believe I was nervous. Like, I'm still nervous about emergencies when the snow hits, but this has been so good for
He's
Jack.
writing again.
Yeah.
Like, we're getting through this rough patch. Whatever's happening here, it's healing.
It's healing. It's so good for us.
And Jack says the same thing when he's on the roof. He's like, he could have finished it 3 days ago, but being on the roof is just like so healing for him, and doing this manual labor. It's giving his mind free time to actually write.
Yeah, they are thriving up here in the mountains at the Overlook.
Until the wasp nest isn't empty. Danny has a nightlight in his room because he's been having nightmares, and he won't talk to his parents about it. And again, Wendy is very nervous about these weird nightmares. Well, he's having a crazy nightmare, and he's been having this recurring nightmare of running through the 3rd floor of the Overlook, and a monster chasing him. He calls it a tiger. He's like a tiger with hands, because he just hears this voice of, come out here, boy, take your medicine. You're going to take every last drop, in this immense banging. It's a really, really bad nightmare. And this time, right before he gets to see what is chasing him, he gets stung by a wasp. He wakes up and he's fucking covered in wasps, and there's wasps leaking out of this nest, and he screams, and Jack and Wendy run in, and everyone's freaking out because Wendy hates wasps in general. They're her like spider phobia. It's wasps. So she's freaking out. Huh? Go ahead.
I don't want the people to know that I didn't finish the book.
No, it doesn't really explain anything besides it being creepy crawlies.
Okay.
Yeah. To be fair, you were like 150 pages off. You were really close to being
130.
Done. Damn. So like, again, like we said, I finished it this morning. I finished the last like 20 pages this morning. It was a long book, and it took me a second to really get into it because of the first like chunk of them not being at the hotel. It felt like a slog, but once you got into it, like I was in it. It's the same thing with the Lightbringer series. Yeah. It took us it struggled through that first book, but once we got through halfway that book, like we fucking love that series. We recommend it all the time. But it was a slog for me in this one, and this is the third or fourth book by Stephen. I own a lot of Stephen King, and I haven't read a lot of them, but it felt like the same way with The Mist. It was really hard to get through. That was a smaller book though, so it didn't feel as bad. Pet Sematary, I felt the same way. Like the first chunk of his books, even it is just like it's a rough. It feels like when you get a fantasy book and they have to give you a bunch of exposition, and you're just like slogging through it to get to the actual story. And I feel like a lot of it doesn't, like, you're correct in this one where it's giving you the before the crazy, like what the situation is, and then the crazy, right? That's what it's doing. But I feel like there's just so much of it, and it's rough to get through. But once we get through all of that, it's good.
Yeah.
But anyways, the wasp thing. Yeah. And now, so that we have this, from this point forward, we get a wasp motif of these things that happen, including like in the final scene of the book, we have a whole other wasp motif that Halloran talks about. It's crazy. So like this, it's a whole. The wasps are representing like life and death and changing and shit existing for the rest of the book now. Well, Wendy's pissed about it. Jack is taking photos because he's like, we're gonna sue the fucking bug bomb place because I did the thing. And he originally isn't gonna deal with the nest until he goes back into the room after they like kill all of the wasps on Danny, and they take him to the bedroom and are giving him baby aspirin and this kind of stuff. When he goes back into the bedroom, he said it's like hundreds of wasps, and he's like, how the hell did they live? I shook it out. Shouldn't be nothing in there. And so he sticks him in the back porch out off the kitchen to freeze to death because he's like, what the fuck?
Honestly, yeah, like, and I do feel like that was like, I don't know, because I do feel kind of 50-50 about it, because I can't, like, yeah, it's kind of weird, but like, I don't know, boy shit, I guess, of like, oh, wasp nest, sick, you know? Like, just, you know.
I never saw this as malicious.
I didn't either, and this is definitely hotel mischief. The Overlook did this, because Jack is like, it's winter. Why are they alive? They should be dead.
The bug bomb plus
and the queen's not laying any eggs right now because it's not season. Everything should be dead. I shook it out. I saw the dead bodies. There should be nothing left. There should be a husk. Why are there wasps in it? But then you also get like, this is kind of feeding that things happen to me. It's not my fault.
The bug bomb was faulty.
The bug bomb was faulty.
So this is, again, this is the shift point in the book, I feel like, where you're getting the hotel coming alive and really feeding off of it. And Wendy says later in the book, it's like Danny is a battery. And I really agree with that. Like, again, we're jumping all over the place, but I'm going to try to be cohesive as this as possible. Danny keeps having these thoughts and these feelings and getting...
Well, he knows it's his dad. That was the very first nightmare that he had about the Overlook with Tony before they even got there.
So he saw it, but he didn't... When he woke up, he didn't remember it was his dad. is the thing, is that he's like...
Well, I mean, I feel like he did, though. Like, he couldn't remember, but he knew.
Subconsciously, he knew. But, like, forefront mind, he didn't. Because when Jack comes, he sees a mallet in his front seat and, like, freaks out a little bit until it's gone, right? But Danny's nightmares are getting worse. Him seeing things are getting worse. The snow starts coming in, and he can't... I don't remember what happens first. It's got to be room 217, right? Is the big thing for Danny.
Yeah, well, I feel like another big point that we have to make about, because it's before the snow hits, about Jack and who he is as a person, and this admittance that he has about being a tortured artist, is he finds that scrapbook that you were mentioning earlier.
Yeah, he finds the scrapbook. And the last time they go into town, this is the last time they go into town is after this. He goes through, and this, oh my god, this was a slog to read through, because it explains the entire history of the hotel and who's all stayed there. And it's been mobsters and brothels and gamblers and quote unquote seedy people that have all been at the hotel. And then it goes through the deaths of all these random people who died. And we already heard about like one death, I think, Olmet, besides Grady. Was it Holleran? Someone said that we did Holleran tell Danny about
the lady
and who died because she was there with a young lover, and then he abandoned her, and then she like overdosed and died in the bathtub.
Yeah,
room 217. For future reference, that's her.
Yeah,
is the woman in room 217 that we'll get to here in a second. But so this is where I think the hotel really grasps on him, and I did make a note of this, is when he's reading this at the end of the scrapbook, he's like, this just shows how important I am, because I'm not just protecting a hotel, I'm protecting history. And it goes from this, it's a responsibility, I signed a contract, to I'm the caretaker of this place and I have to do this thing. This is where the hotel really starts sinking in to Jack.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Jack's just weak-willed.
He's very weak-willed, and that's why they were able to grab him so easily.
And I think that's what the beginning of the story was really showing, is how weak-willed he is.
Well, but then Danny says later... Well, okay, we'll talk about it here in a second. Anyways, so they go to town. He is now dead set on writing a book about the Overlook, and he loses his temper again and calls Ullman to embarrass him about the history of the hotel.
Like, he's had any say in any of these things. Like, he's not just the fucking hotel manager.
Yeah, and he says, like, Jack, even after the whole phone call, like, doesn't know why he did it except to embarrass Ullman, when Ullman knew about all of it and straight up just tells him, it didn't have any bearing on you doing your fucking job. Why would I tell you this? And he hangs up, but Ullman... So the reason Al was able to get him this job is because he's on the board of directors for the hotel, and he owns 35% of the stock on this hotel. And so he was able to pull some strings to get Jack this job, and Ullman was fully against it, but he didn't have a full say. He's like, I wouldn't hire you at all if I had any say in this. Well, Ullman, like, makes him not even, like, he threatens him. He's like, I'm gonna call fucking Alan. You're losing your goddamn job. What the fuck is your problem?
I want you out of my hotel. I'll figure it out. Like, get out of there.
Yeah, so he's trying to fire him on the spot. They go back to the hotel. Jack ends up getting a call from Al, and Al is like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And this is the first time that Al has really told Jack no. And he takes it so personally, because Al's conditions on him staying are, don't call Ullman. I don't fucking care if the place catches on fire, which is a foreshadowing thing. I don't care if the place catches on fire. You are never to contact him again, and you will not write a book about this hotel. You can't. He's like, I own stock in this. This is, like, he doesn't say my pride and joy, but he's like, I plan to be involved in this hotel for a very long time, and you will not write an expose about it.
Yeah, well, because Jack was trying to sell him on the idea of, like, well, I'm not going to do it right now. It's not right away. It's a future project.
And he's like, a future to you is 4 years. A future for me is 30.
Yeah.
And so Jack has this whole internal monologue of like, oh, I'm a dog with a collar on, and of course we're friends, just don't ignore the fact that I own your ass, like all of this stuff. And it's just like, he's talking about how it's ripping his soul out, and that Al took his biggest, like the biggest part of him out of him by saying, hey, don't write an expose about the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want a book about the Overlook. And honestly, he's a fucking fiction writer, man. He could have just, like, done the Shining, right? Like, he could have just changed the name of the hotel and put it in fucking Wyoming, and it would have been fine.
Yeah.
But no, it had to be about the Overlook, and it had to be an expose, the true story of all of the seedy things that happened here, and how it's going to put him on the map as an artist, and that he can burn the bridge with Al. That comes later, because he just agrees to Al's terms because he's thinking about his wife and kid, and how if he gets fired here, they're fucked, and that they're gonna have to stay in Sidewinder because they don't have any prospects, and how long is it gonna be until he finds the bar and he's just getting beers for 30 cents and fucking unemployed, and they're getting food stamps and blah blah blah. And so he does have this like random chance of clarity of like, I can't do that to my family, while he's getting his soul ripped out because the one project he wants to do isn't whatever.
Yep.
As someone who writes, goddamn, dude, like, it's the edgelord, what did you say? Tortured artist of everything has to happen to me because that's the only way I can write. If I'm not tortured, I'm not a real writer.
Yeah.
I feel no sympathy for Jack for so much of this, because I'm like, buck the fuck up, bitch. Like, I don't know what to tell you. You chose to have a family. Fucking get over it.
Yeah.
But that's the way I felt with Sinister too. With I can't remember the dad's name. I was just like, buck the fuck up. Do you want to take care of your family or not?
Yeah. Yeah. It is. It is rough. But yeah, that's where we get that first of him realizing like am I doing this to myself so that I have this excuse
to never finish the play and to not put my life together. And he does like have some clarity about how he is the one ruining his own life, and he's in his own way.
Yep.
Until the hotel gets back in his head and is like, no, it's not your fault. It's your wife's fault. Your wife has ruined your entire life. She's the one who had the kid, and she's the one who doesn't support you in your decisions and undermines you and all of this stuff. Again, attacking his pride. The hotel really attacks his pride, and that like what gets him going about it. So they finally get snowed in, and it snowed in. Jack has to go out every few hours to shovel off the porch to make sure they can still get out. They are in the hotel now. And this is when not even like cabin fever stuff starts happening. Like everyone has their own space to sprawl around in and do
but
that
they
kind
do
of stuff.
kind of talk about it being cabin fever because when they're going outside every chance they get, every time the weather allows, they're outside.
That's fair. And Jack does talk about how it seems like they're putting on a facade of happiness as they're playing in the snow and sledding and doing this stuff and just kind of going through the motions because they don't have anything else to do.
So yeah, it doesn't specifically say that they're going crazy, like they're going through a little bit of cabin fever, but I do feel like that is a thing that you have to like kind of pick up on because like it's them alone in this big place and they do have room to spread out, but it's dark and it's cold all the time, and so then they're like going out and seeing the sunshine as much as they can.
Oh, that's fair. I was very much in Jack's boat about this is great. I'm gonna be snowed in and I can write for 9 months.
Yeah,
but it is fair, the getting out, seeing the sun, getting out of the darkness, right? It's a good dopamine hit. Makes you sane again.
Yeah, and things are still going good. Ish. There's that tension, obviously. But things are still okay for right now, you know? They're figuring things out. They're doing okay.
This is when Jack's real like alcoholistic tendencies are starting to come back, and Wendy's like, what the fuck? She's like, the writing is starting to come on the wall. And Danny's nightmares are getting worse. He's not doing well in this whole situation. And this, you talked about it earlier already, when he finally goes into room 217 because he can't not anymore.
He can't not.
And he goes in, and in the bathroom, if you've seen the movie, it's almost page for page, like word for word, what happens in the movie of him going into the bathroom. In the movie, they don't show it, and I'm thankful that the kid actor did not have to do this scene, which is, I feel like, a lot of what happened in the movie we don't see with Danny, because then they didn't want to put the kid actor through that. And I'm very grateful that a lot of those scenes, like the actor who played Danny, his name is also Danny, he didn't know they were doing a horror movie and thought they were just doing a movie about a family. And so I feel like that's why a lot of the scenes that we had in the book didn't portray in the movies because of that.
Good.
Which, yeah, I'm here for. Like, don't force fucking kids to deal with that shit. Although, I'm watching Dr. Sleep, that's the next movie we're covering. Holy fuck. That's the sequel to this.
Yes.
Have you read it?
No.
I haven't read it either. Anyways, how it goes. Once Danny... I keep hitting the microphone. I'm so sorry. Once Danny...
We're hand talkers.
We are. Whenever she wants me to stop talking, she'll just grab my hands and I short circuit for a second. She doesn't do it often. It's usually if I'm rambling and she's like, hey, we have a thing we need to go do. But this is the real turning point, is room 217, because Wendy believes Danny comes out, he has peed himself, he has bruising on his neck. At the same time that's happening, she's checking the boilers. No.
Okay, so what is happening is Wendy falls asleep knitting peacefully alone in her bedroom.
That's right. It's in the movie that she's doing.
Jack is downstairs with the boiler going through this scrapbook. While he's doing that, he starts to fall asleep. And this is where you get a lot of his background of what happened when he was a baby or a kid.
With his papa.
With his papa being an alcoholic, his family life,
his mom, how she was subservient.
Yep, she was a very Catholic woman, so she put up with a lot of it. How his dad got into an accident with the milk truck and it left him with a cane.
And how they got
beat. The cane got turned into a weapon, and his dad beat the shit out of his mom. And she, a turning point for his oldest brother, was not the beating, but then watching his mom
lie to the doctors about what happened. And his oldest brother quit his job and joined the army.
And then died in the war.
In the war while Jack was in college protesting the war. And he used his brother's bloody shirt in the protests.
Yeah. So
we get all of that, and she wakes up
and because then it turns into his dad's talking to him, and he's like remembering his father, and like Jack is remembering his father, and he's like remembering this feeling of love and hate and fear and like want and like all of these diverse emotions that he had, and his dad coming at him saying, well, why don't you just take your medicine?
Take it like a man.
Come on, pup, drink up your medicine. Like yelling at him, and then he's like, your problem is your son. Your son is your problem. Just get rid of your son and you'll be happy. And like Jack is hearing his father's voice telling him to kill Danny. Just kill Danny. Just get rid of him. And he's like overtaking his thoughts, and Jack wakes up screaming and breaks the radio because he thinks the voice is coming from the radio. It might be coming from the radio, but whatever. Breaks the radio. Wendy hears Jack screaming.
That's right, yeah.
And comes running down. And this is the part that was like, I get it, don't get me wrong, but it was kind of a little heartbreaking to see. Jack is crying. He's having a breakdown, and he's going to Wendy for comfort. Wendy's first thought when she woke up and couldn't find Danny and heard Jack yelling was, oh my God, where the fuck is Danny? He's hurting Danny again. And then she goes down and sees that he's alone. Danny's not with him. And Jack is in tears, sobbing over this. I had this dream, and it was the worst dream I've ever had, and I was scared. And Wendy's just like, well, where's Danny? What did you do to Danny? And like that part, honestly, like I get it. Jack's not a good person, but that broke my heart a little bit. Like he was just like, went to his wife for comfort, and she's like, I see obviously that you're not doing the thing that I thought you were doing, but I still blame you somehow for this thing. And yeah, and I do get, and I think this is a strong opinion. Maybe I shouldn't say it on this.
Oh?
Yeah. I'm not gonna say it.
You're not gonna say it? Okay,
It's
okay.
a strong opinion.
Gotcha.
And so, like, I did find that, like, there is resentment later, and I do kind of get it.
I see it from both points of view.
I mean, obviously I do too,
where
as well.
It's just, I understand why Jack is like, you won't let this go, but I also understand it from a mom point of view of, why would I let you breaking my son's arm go?
So, okay, I am going to state my opinion. And it's not like this is like well, fuck. But there is a certain point where either you accept it and move on, or you do something about it.
Which is fair.
And so, like, I do struggle a little bit, because you're right, like, it is a different time, and things are so, you never know the situation that people are in, and so it's not like I'm just like, okay, well then stop fucking bitching about it, like, you stayed. But, like, there is a point where she has said that she has moved on, right? She told Jack she forgave him. She said that they were going to move past this.
Did she?
Yes. Because then she admits later on that she's like, I haven't moved on. And I feel all these things, and it's not just you, but I have all these feelings, and I'm sorry. And they sit and they talk about it. But she says she forgives him. She says that she's moved past it. And so I do kind of understand that there's like this, why are you telling me something and then acting different?
Which is fair.
Like, and both sides are shitty, right? You shouldn't be breaking your fucking kid's arm. Child abuse is bad. Don't fucking hurt your kid. I'm mad at Wendy for not trusting you to be alone with your fucking kid when you have a temper like that. I don't blame her for that. But I also do kind of blame her for staying with you when she knows that you can hurt your son in that kind of way.
Yeah, and
like,
what we learn later is, after the whole car crash thing, this is where Wendy, like, Jack stops drinking, and Wendy the next day after them hitting the bike in the road, him and Al, decides that she's going to divorce him. And she's just going to have to deal with the consequences of whatever happens.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, we can talk about this next week. If you still want to talk about it next week, we can talk about whatever. So she was contemplating divorcing him because of his drinking. And when he stopped drinking, it's almost like she lost her real reason to leave him. Mm-hmm. And you don't need a reason to leave someone. Like, you can leave for whatever fucking reason, but you know how people are like, well, I don't have a good reason. Mm-hmm. And she technically does. If she wants a real reason, you broke my fucking kid's arm, why should I stay with you? Yeah. Right? But the duality in Wendy is she's going from one evil to another, right? Is it easier to handle Jack when you can just fuck his brains out and he's happy for the next 2 hours, or dealing with your mom who berates you every fucking second of every day, and no matter what you do is wrong, and how she could be a better mom to your own son? You know, what's better? And we learn from Danny's point of view later that he's like, I don't like grandma. I don't want to go. Please don't let us live there. Because he, with his... By that point, like, him and Wendy have a whole heart-to-heart, and Wendy's like, okay, I believe you because I can't not believe you. Like, there's too many things happening. You know too much things that you shouldn't know. You have second sight, and I'm just going to accept that. And then she understands, with talking to Danny, because she's just open with him now. He's allowed to talk about all this kind of stuff and no judgment from her. And she'll just ask clarifying questions with certain things, and it turns into a very healthy thing if it wasn't surrounded by all of this terror. Yeah. Where he's now comfortable talking about The Shining with her, his shine with her. And she learns that Danny knows all of grandma's thoughts, all of her mom's thoughts, and she's like, this poor kid, like, I can't subject him to that if he's literally has to listen to my thoughts and her thoughts. And she then becomes very conscious of her thoughts as well, on what she's pouring out and what he's able to hear. And she's like, I feel naked in front of my son, or caught masturbating by my son because he's just in my head. Yeah. And that's terrifying.
Yeah. Just to have that realization is horrifying. And so, like, I do get, like, and there is a lot of it that's like, no, Danny loves Jack, and taking him away would be horrible. And she's like, and I can't get a job to afford to pay for both of us. And we all know that Jack doesn't have the fucking, she even says that, she's like, Jack doesn't have the money to for child support.
I would get maybe child support for 3 months before he's off on a bender.
Yeah, and like, so there is no money. My option is to stay here and hope for the best. And so I do get that. And I'm not saying that I don't get that. Like, I'm like 95% on Wendy's side here. Mm-hmm. But there is that 5% of me that's like, you don't get to say, I forgive you.
Right.
When you don't.
Yeah.
You don't get to push it under the rug when it's a big issue. Mm-hmm. You don't get to do that. That's not okay.
And this is the only time I will say this is a sign of the times, because, mm-hmm. like, what job is she going to be able to get? Don't get me wrong, she got, like, a typing job that paid a quarter of what Jack was making. And so it's a different time, especially for women to... It was after the war, so, like, women were supposed to work, but after the war, everyone was like, okay, women go home.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't great as far, obviously, as far as I know, mm-hmm. right? Like, I can't speak on that about how it actually was, but it doesn't sound great. Mm-hmm. And I do agree with you that she shouldn't have said she forgives him, but also, like, what if she said she didn't? How would Jack be then, right? It's again, it's I feel like a lot of self-preservation, and I think I do give Wendy a lot more grace than she probably deserves given the situation.
I do, but, yeah, and I get that. You're right. Like, how would he have reacted? But I do.
She's not right.
No, I do think there is, like, that point where it's once again talking about ethics. There is a point where you have to take the interest over the want. You know, a kid is a kid and they want sugar all the time, even though it's bad for their health and their teeth, and they want to stay with daddy even though he could hurt me at any point, because I just love my family and I want to be here, and a happy family is like a happy life. And there is a point where you as a parent have to go, I have to take what's in your best interest over what you want.
Yeah.
And she's taking what Danny wants over his best interest, because I do think there were plenty of people, it might not have been a great life, but it would have been a safe life for them. There are things, there are plenty of people, there were plenty of single moms who did it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying she couldn't have done it. Yeah. I don't think she could fathom the lifestyle given what they had. Yeah. And it's hard. That's a whole new change. And depending, they're not religious, but like if her mom was religious and, you know, breaking the covenant or some bullshit, you know,
I'm sure there is still, without being religious, I'm sure there is still some of that
stigma of
and yeah, I just think that there were a lot of things. It's unfathomable to me to be afraid of your spouse
and stay
hurting your kid, having the proof there and staying.
I mean, it happens all the time.
It does happen all the time. I'm saying it out loud and I'm like, it happens literally every day.
It's unfathomable when we're in a relationship where that wouldn't happen, and if it did, the other person would not allow it to happen again.
Yeah.
So it's hard for us to be put in that situation when we know that is not a situation we would ever be in, given our life standing of where we are.
But there are plenty of people who go through hard times and find themselves in situations like these.
And you can get out. It might be hard, but you can leave.
Mm-hmm.
You should leave.
You should leave.
But to get now into the main horror part, because after this turning point, we get into the psychological horror.
Yes, this was the book. This was the point. Danny goes into the fucking room and the lady is there. The dead lady, the dead broad in the fucking bathtub
is there, and he closes his eyes and she doesn't go away, and he's like, oh fuck, she's actually here. He gets strangled.
She strangles him. Well, unclear. He closes his eyes, and Jack does make a good point of how much is he projecting and how much is he doing to himself, is like, but not like, is he doing this to himself because he's like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs?
Yeah, they call it schizophrenia. They call it,
yeah.
Again, sign of the times when it comes to, they call it schizoid, and kids grow out of it.
Yeah. And so is he doing it to himself because he's so scared and he feels like this is the things that are happening, or like
was something actually there?
But either way, he has strangle marks on his neck. He's bruised.
Wendy thinks Jack did it. Jack thinks Wendy did it for a split second, and then we get his POV where he's like, I thought about it for like a moment, but she couldn't harm a hair on his head without freaking out. So either he did it to himself, or there's something here and there's nothing here. So he did it to himself, and he goes into like he's suppressing things because he goes into room 217, sees the same fucking shit, and he's like, closes the door and is like, there's nothing there. I didn't see anything.
Well, because we also get it with the topiary. Mm-hmm. He experiences the topiary first. He's out there cutting them. Doing
cutting the bunny's belly and trimming things up here and there.
Making sure, talking about how it's unnatural to force hedges into shapes like this.
And if it was him, he would rip up all of the bushes and make it umbrellas for people to drink expensive drinks. Again, his alcoholism is very much portrayed in his entire character. He talks about all of these expensive drinks, all of these different types of cocktails. Like, it's in his character. It's not just like one of those background things. It is in the forefront of Jack's mind in his entire existence that he wants a drink, that a drink would make this better, that he would like this kind of drink, and that he really likes martinis. Mm-hmm. And so it's
Martians. They call them Martians. Yeah. Martinis are Martians. I do appreciate that aspect because I do feel like there is the just that aspect. Not that I've ever had alcohol, like I've never been addicted to alcohol, but coming off of smoking, yeah, it is like that little just like, damn, I just kind of wish mm-hmm. if I could. I would right now, you know, like, and we've kind of had those conversations, you know, where it's just like it's portrayed very well of just like you're in the middle of doing something and it's just like, oh, you know, it sounds good.
You know what would happen, like, be good for him? It's like, oh, a martini sounds nice, or a cold glass of beer sounds nice. And for us, like, we'd be doing something because obviously we both stopped smoking. Was like, damn, I really could use a cigarette right now, or mm-hmm. I really wish I had my vape, or mm-hmm. something like that. And like those addictions are, Garrett talks about actually his addiction, mm-hmm. In the Shining episode, mm-hmm. and he talks about like it's just this craving and this want, and you know you don't realize it until it's bad. Yeah. And that's exactly what Jax is like, mm-hmm. he had the realization, and every time he like thinks about having a drink, he thinks about hitting the bike, and he mm-hmm. thinks about hurting his son, and he's like, I can't do that. I can't do it. Mm-hmm. And then he goes into the Colorado Lounge in the bar at the hotel where there should be alcohol and there's not. And then like I'm sorry, we're getting away from the topiary thing.
The topiary
is the first like real thing Jack sees. Yeah, that is wrong.
And it's you're so right about being able to do the topiary because it's so good. He's trying to, so he's cutting the topiary and he sees the playground. And he goes and starts playing on the playground.
He like plays on he tries to do the slide.
He tries to do the slide and he's like,
my ass is too big.
My ass is too big. And then he tries to like go
on the swing set, but it's all rusted and it's not fun.
Yeah, and then he's like trying to play pretend and he's just like,
I hope my wife doesn't
I hope nobody's watching me right now. But I do kind of get like that need to just like reconnect. Like he's kind of losing it, you know? And mm-hmm. he's like, I want to reconnect with my inner child. And he's like, it's gone. I got nothing. And there's nothing left. I can't do any of it.
Oh, and the thing about this playground, right, is there is a miniature overlook hotel playhouse.
The baby playhouse, which is super cute, by the way. But then he's like, where's the furniture at?
He was like, oh, I guess it's put away for
the summer. But then he's like, or it's not there at all because the kids are supposed to play in it. And why would there be furniture taking up the
space inside?
The space. Like, he's like adulting his way through a playground, like adultifying a playground. Which is very sad. But the whole point, while he's there, though, he turns around and he looks at the topiary, and the bunny that was up on its hind legs is now on all fours. And the dog that was up on its hind legs begging for a treat is on all fours.
And the buffalo is kind of moved.
And the lions have, like, turned.
Closer. Yeah. And so every time he looks away, it's like the weeping angels from Doctor Who, where you look away and you look back and they've moved. Mm-hmm. They're closer and they're doing something. And it would have been so good to see in the movie, but there's no way they could have done it without intense CGI. And the time this movie came out, that was not an option. Mm-hmm. And I think even if they did do it in like the 4-hour long one, like I don't think it's gonna have that same effect. Like, this is something that written does really well, and I don't think you could get it in a visual format. Like, maybe like a comic book, like still media, but I don't think you could get it in like moving media.
I don't think you could either, because it was just kind of like it's the idea, because when I feel like in a visual media, it's just there. It's still always there. In this written form, it takes so long to describe something that you kind of, you lose it and then it's back. And then it's gone and it's back. And it's like this back and forth, really. But yeah, that's his, and he's like, no, I'm going to go inside. I'm
going to go the long way inside.
Not because anything's wrong with the topiary.
No, it's fine. I'm just taking a scenic route.
Yeah.
Back.
I have, because why not? It's a beautiful day. Deny.
Yes. And then you get the room 217, which is worse, and he hears the pounding on the door when he closes it and hears like the jingling. He's like, nothing's here. I saw nothing. This is all hallucinating. And that's what he keeps telling himself with the topiary and everything. He's like, I'm hallucinating. This is really bad. Wow. Woof. Can't tell anyone about that, or I'm going to be up in the sanatorium. Yep. And so he lies to Wendy, because Wendy, this is where they fuck.
Yes.
So Danny, they make Danny a hot toddy after he gets strangled, and they both come to the conclusion that neither one of them did that. And Danny explains the whole Shining thing and how he can see stuff and how the hotel is bad and blah 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 blah. And they're like, "Fuck, okay, I guess." Well, and then they put him to bed in a cot in their bedroom, and they're like, "We'll make him a doctor's appointment tomorrow."
Well, mind you, Jack is deny so hard in his brain that he's like, this is a normal Tuesday. He's writing his play. After all of this has gone down. Yeah. He's writing his play. And Wendy's like, we need to get him out of here. We need to take him to a doctor. We need to get him out of here. And Jack's like, okay. How? You must really think I'm Superman if you think I can just get us out of here. And she's like, there has to be a way. Like, there has to be something. He's like, well, there ain't no CB radio anymore because I broke that earlier. He's like, I can admit that that's my fault.
And he says something about how they would be able to get down if there's good enough. Oh, the snowshoeing, because they snowshoe.
He's like, but he could probably snowshoe himself for a little while, but then I'd have to carry him, and then we're going to have to camp out, and we'll probably die.
Because it'll take 3 days to get down to Sidewinder.
And then
something about, he says, we can wait for park rangers because they haven't heard from us in a while. They'll probably come check on us, and that's probably our best option. Then he starts like grabbing her boob and rubbing her nipple.
Yeah, so she's nagging at him to, I hate saying that word. She's not nagging. She's like,
she's trying to get their son help because shit just happened and he's not being helpful.
I don't have a better word, because like it's like
it's just the continual
the rehashing over and over and over
and over again. And we know I hate that, and so I understand where he's coming from, where he's like, fuck off, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. We have no other options.
Yeah, like, I can't solve your problem right now.
But in Wendy's head, she's like, I feel like he's not telling me something. And so she's like pushing, because she's like, there's something I'm forgetting and there's something he's not saying. And so you're right that they speak their language of sex, and then after they fuck, she's like, there's a snowmobile. Why didn't you mention the snowmobile? And he's like, yeah, I guess I could get that running. Spark plugs, battery, gas can, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, because, well, he keeps... And this is, of course, where, like, the hotel is, like, influencing him a lot. Because he's like, I should get my kid out of here. Yeah, but then he's like, but why would I?
Why do we need to leave?
Why do we need to leave? Yeah. And so, like, she's like, oh, the snowmobile. And he's like, yeah, I guess...
If it works.
What about gas? And she's like, we got plenty of gas. We'll siphon it out of the bug and the truck. And Jack's like, okay, well, they probably took all this stuff out. I'm gonna have to find all the pieces of the snowmobile. Which he does.
And he promises he'll look at it, but he's like under the covers, like clenching his fists until he bleeds, because he's like, just shut the fuck up, woman.
And like, I'm so fucking done hearing you speak.
And then she goes to bed, and then he gets up and he like looks at his son.
Oh, he looks at him, and then he like quote unquote falls asleep. He's in that subconscious state where we know this monster comes out. Yeah. And he's like, with the hotel or his dad or whoever, kill Danny. Get rid of Danny. Just get rid of him. Your problem is solved if you don't have to worry about him. You don't have to leave if he's not here making Wendy worry. Fuck it. Get rid of both of them. And then you don't have to worry about anything. You can finish your play. You don't have to worry about any responsibilities. All you have to do is take care of the hotel and take care of your play. That's it. Get rid of Danny. Get rid of Wendy. And so he's like, has a mallet. And he's like,
he doesn't have a mallet.
No, you're right. I'm sorry.
No, he's like hovering over Danny sleeping and comes to.
Forgot this. No, because this is the part where he comes to the realization that he hates his characters in the play. Wendy's like talking at him about the snowmobile, and he's like, fuck. And she's like, what's the matter? And he's like, nothing. And she thinks that it's something important. And he's like, I don't like my play anymore.
Oh yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, like, it's a whole thing.
Finally having this realization that this character, and not even actually having the realization, because his dream is the play. And but then the character is George, and it's George, and you have this flashback of why George and why these things happen, and the stutter.
Yes. So the whole thing that happened with
we need to talk about
so
that.
The whole thing that happened with George Hatfield is he is a rich kid, just like in Jack's play. He's a rich kid who's in this prep school, whose dad wants him to become a lawyer, but George wants to kind of prove his own way. He's like, yeah, my dad could just like get me somewhere, but you know, what the fuck is that going to do? Like, I want to try at least. And then he knows he can rely on daddy's money if he needs to. He's
the star athlete. He's hot shit.
He gets B's and C's in school, so he's not like grade A, but he's good enough that he can quote unquote skate by. He's just your average student, but he's a great athlete. But his dad wants him to do debate because that looks good for lawyers. Well, it turns out he has a really bad stutter when he gets heated, and so even though he's really passionate about any side of the podium you put him on, he starts stuttering, and this whole thing happens where Jack is like, I can't have you on the debate team. I tried, but you can't get through your stutter. I need you to I gotta let you go. Well, then George tells him, you move the timer forward. Because, you know, you have timers with a debate. And Jack denies it the entire time, still lets him go. And what ends up happening is he gets let go and George slashes his tires.
Oh, George gets kicked off the debate team,
and then like a week or so later, not the same day, while they're doing another debate practice, George goes out with a hunting knife and slashes the bug's tires, gets 3 of them down, and Jack comes out to get some papers he forgot, beats the living shit,
slams his head so hard against the car that it leaves a dent in the hood
with red on it, and he thinks it's from hitting the bike.
Yeah,
and they weren't even in the bug when they had that accident.
No.
He doesn't even cognizantly realize that he's will murder George if he continues. And another teacher has to come out, pull him off of it, and then the switch flips immediately.
And that's where I'm like, this is the monster. This is the subconscious. This is the thing that comes out, because he blacks out, right? It's that temper. It makes him black out. And then he comes to, and he's like, oh fuck, what the fuck is wrong with me? And George is like, flinches, but he's like, I'm so sorry, like, don't fall asleep, like, you might have a concussion, like, don't move, call 911. Like, he comes to. And so this is where, like, it's that duality. It's the monster and there's Jack, and they are together, but one is conscious and one is subconscious.
Yeah. And so with the dream he's having, it's back to being George, and he's about to beat the shit out of George, and then it turns into Danny.
Yeah, so George is, like, coming at him, and like, there's this realization that, like, because it's the play, and then it turns into him and George instead of the teacher and the student in the play. And the realization hits that this is the same situation, and it's George getting in his face saying, you tried to hit me with your car when I was on my bike. You ran forward the timer, and I don't have a stutter. And so I don't even know if George actually had a stutter.
Well, and then it also, so the play is about a teacher and a student, and the student cheated on the midterm or the final or whatever. Yeah. And so it's him can not only telling George he has a stutter, but it's also you cheated on your midterm. And so then you get this like whole thing of what's the play and what actually happened. Did George cheat on a midterm? And that's the whole big issue that actually happened with the stutter. And it's a whole like you don't know what's part of the play and what's part of like actually happened between Jack and George.
Yeah, and so you get to this point where it's like, what has actually happened? You said this so many times while reading it. Jack is just such an unreliable narrator.
Because Jack for like 3 pages is like, I didn't turn the timer forward. And then the final page, he's like, even if I did, it was only a minute and it was a mercy.
Yeah.
And so you're like, oh, so you did fucking turn the timer forward. But how, like, so you can't trust a thing that Jack says.
And so like, there is a part of me that's like, did he actually stutter?
You don't think he stuttered?
I don't think George actually stuttered, because there was like this duality, right? You cheated on your midterm and I'm gonna fucking prove it. I have to prove that you cheated. And this stutter, and it turns into that I'll prove it, because he only stuttered on debate team and we never get anyone else's point of view of if it was. And so did he come up with this, well, that's why I can't have him on the debate team. He's perfect in every other aspect. If only he didn't have this stutter. Did he make up the stutter in his brain? Because George kept saying, I don't have a stutter. I don't have a stutter. When he was telling George, I can't have you in the team, you stutter. And he's like, I don't stutter.
Yeah, because later, Danny gets really, really scared
and starts stuttering
because he's scared, and Jack screams, "Don't stutter!" So I don't know. Maybe that's a good point. It's hard because Jack is an unreliable narrator. We don't know how, and I will give Stephen King his kudos there. We don't know. Again, I've said this multiple times, especially. I just don't like how much fluff is in his books. I feel like they could be cut down. I don't think he's a shitty writer. Just some of the things I'm like.
It's like a Tolkien situation.
There's too much. And like you already said too, I don't understand all the sex. Like, don't get me wrong, there's sex in horror movies. It's part of the duality, right? You got the blood, guts, and gore, and you got the sex. They go hand in hand. There's been so many times that I'm like, the obligatory boob scene. Like, it is what it is. But I just don't get how sexualized everything fucking is.
The cuckoo clock, specifically.
Oh yeah, we didn't. That it's not a big deal. It's like a sub thing, but there's a cuckoo clock where the
thing that comes out, instead of a bird or instead of like a little thing that dances around, it's a fucking guy and a girl, and they 69.
And then it's something different. It changes with who sees it. So I don't know why Danny sees a man and a woman in ballerina clothes 69ing. Yeah. I don't know if that's the actual thing it does. It doesn't make sense to be in the hotel lobby if it is.
Well, it was turned off.
That's fair.
And this was like a
it was a fancy thing.
But like,
and then Jack sees
unnecessary.
Jack sees himself murdering his son.
Yeah.
He sees a man with a mallet smashing this kid's head in. And so I don't know what actually happens there, but there's just so much over sexualization and shit, and I don't get it. I don't understand it. I maybe it's just like we talk about this a lot off of things. It's really hard for us to read books written by men. And I don't know, like, I I've read James Patterson, and I've read Stephen King and Grady Hendrix, and there's just some books that I just, like, I don't know if it's from, like, a male lens that I just can't get behind. Like, do you really just think this overtly sexualization about fucking everything? Can you not? And I'm also on the ACE scale, so that, like, doesn't help at all of just... I don't think about sex this fucking often.
I'm definitely not on the ACE scale, and I do think about sex a lot, and I feel like it's just unnecessary. Specifically, there was just like
the seed spilling out over the thighs.
Okay, yeah. And like the scene with the naked lady, very harped on her breasts.
Anytime there's boobs involved, he harps on them. Because in the bar
centric.
Yes. Because there's also, so he starts hallucinating really bad, right? Yeah, and so now in the Colorado Lounge, which is the ballroom, there is now a bartender, and there's alcohol and all these kinds of things, and there's this woman falling asleep next to him with her boob falling out, spilling out onto the bar, and he's like harping on the boob, and he dances with this woman at one time who's definitely naked under her dress. sure. Yeah, probably. And he's like, I can feel it. And she doesn't seem to mind my giant boner. She's actually moving towards it. And it's just, why?
Yeah, there's a lot of sex things in here. Anyways, and so, yeah, we have this scene where his life and the play are coming together in this dream. And then next thing you know, he's beating the shit out of George in his dream with a mallet. And then the face turns from George to Danny. And he wakes up and they're all just kill Danny. And he's like, no.
He looks at his son and he's like, I need to get him out of here. That's right. Like, this is not going to happen. Well, what ends up happening is he does find almost all of the parts for the snowmobile except the battery. And he's like, well, I fucking tried. Ha ha ha. And then he sees the battery. And it's the next morning. Time skipping here. And he's like, I should have looked anywhere else. I could just pretend it wasn't there. And then he puts everything in there and then takes...
I don't know enough about any of these.
Do you say the carburetor? Not the carburetor.
Something magnetic.
He called it the Magneto. I don't know what that is.
I don't know. He took a part out of the snowmobile and then chucked it as far as he could.
In the snow. So they legitimately couldn't use it at all for any emergency. And so now they're all trapped. And then we get a time skip to Thanksgiving.
Yeah, things are actually going okay.
They even out enough that Danny's still like reading a lot and they're coming into a routine, and just Jack is hallucinating a lot, and he's hallucinating drinking, and he's in the basement reading the freaking scrapbook all the time, and Wendy's going to bed by herself and just doesn't know what's happening, but believes Danny with all of his second sight stuff. So she asks him every once in a while, like, hey, is he drinking? And he's like, no, he's not drinking. Or Danny calls it the bad thing. He's not doing the bad thing. He's just in the basement, or blah, 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 blah. And Jack just turns into this irritable motherfucker who gets just angry. And this is where Jack Nicholson makes a lot of, like, him in the movie as this version of Jack is phenomenal. Like, Jack Nicholson plays the I don't want to say like the mind controlled version of Jack beautifully. That is how I pictured Jack being in the second half of the book, of just being chaotic and unreadable and just everywhere. He does a really good job. Yeah. But picturing that is how Jack is now, and he only cares about the writing, and he only cares about drinking, and taking care of the hotel, and his responsibility to the contract, and shit happens, and more hallucinations happen. Shit just happens until it all hits the fan.
Yeah. So, the boiler.
Jack almost lets the boiler go.
Jack almost lets the boiler. Yeah, he's getting a lot of talk from the Overlook, which Danny, as was I thought was his dad, which Danny can hear. Danny hears his dad having normal thoughts of, okay, I'm gonna take care of this and yada yada yada, and then he hears another voice, and it's like, get the fuck out of his head. Stop listening. Just stop. Go away.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. And Danny's like, whoa, this is kind of crazy. And then they're all in bed and they hear the thumping.
Oh, the elevator
kick on. And Jack's like, it's just the elevator, it's short-circuiting, whatever. And Wendy's like, don't leave us. And he's like, this is my job. It's to take care of the hotel. And she's like, okay, then we're coming with you. Like, don't leave us alone here.
Yeah.
And so she...
And at this point, he's been saying... he's been telling them that it's all been hallucinations. It's all not real. Yeah, it's like, not real, everything that's happening, they're seeing stuff. It's fine. I know we're on a time crunch here, so we gotta plow through this. So they get to the elevator, and he's like, "Look, there's nothing there." It stops at a weird point. Wendy had this rule that they don't take the elevator because it's really fucking old. And when they got to the third floor with with Ullman, it was a few inches lower than the fucking floor. So she's like, "We're not taking the elevator." So they haven't used it the entire 2 months they've been here. So it kicking on was really fucking weird. Well, she crawls up in there because he's like, look, no one's there, and it stops halfway where you can't really see. So she crawls up in there and pulls out a mask and party streamers and all this kind of stuff. And she's like, is this fake? Is this hallucination? And she throws it all to the floor, which this is the real snowball thing of like, okay, all of this shit is real. Jack is hallucinating this bar and Lloyd and again, like how we already said, like partying with all of these people, and it's from it's everyone dressed in like older attire, the 1940s, like the flapper dresses and all this kind of stuff. And he ends up getting drunk off of fake martinis, and Danny says it later, he's like, the only way you got to my daddy is you made him do the bad thing. Is the hotel somehow got him mentally in the thought that he was drunk, into a point where Wendy finds him and is like, he smells like alcohol and there is nothing here. How the fuck did he get drink? Insane. And this is where Jack turns into a monster. After this night, she's scared of him. She like starts sleeping with a knife under the bed because does he hit her at this point? Does she strangle her, and she has to hit him with the wine bottle, right?
So he has hit he smacked Danny
because of the stutter.
He slapped Danny. But no, not yet, because he's talking to Grady. Well, maybe.
He talks to Grady, and then Grady disappears. The whole bar scene, one of the bar scenes happen, and he's gonna reach over and grab more alcohol, and he falls and tumbles off the side of the bar and passes out.
Yeah.
So when she wakes up and finds it, that's where you ended up. Okay, so he falls. He's done this whole bar thing a few times, but this is the first time he gets like fucking drunk off of it. And he gets back to the ballroom. They hear him upstairs. So Danny and Wendy have like secluded themselves upstairs because Jack has gotten so unpredictable about shit. They hear a party. So they hear him talking, and then they hear nothing. So it's like this weird in and out, like how you're talking about, like the timelines kind of converging, where they'll hear him talking and then they don't really hear anything, and then they hear like a party, and then they hear him yelling over the music, and then it like fades in and out of both timelines. And she goes downstairs to get them lunch. They haven't eaten. They've been up here for like since last night when he slapped Danny. And she's like, it says she can't just leave him there. Like, that's still her husband. If something's wrong, like, she needs to help him. Well, actually, that's not really what happens. She doesn't know how to get Danny off the mountain without Jack. She doesn't know. And so she's like, I need him to help us get out of here. So she goes to check on him. He's passed out, and I think it's just the hotel again in his head being like, you have to kill her. So he starts strangling her, and you can hear like Danny's witnessing this in the second sight, and she's getting strangled, and she ends up being able to grab a wine bottle, because they're fake, they're the wine bottles with like the candles on the top, like the decorative ones, and so she hits him over the head with it. And I think right before that happens, Danny comes and like runs on his back and is trying to get him off of Wendy. So she hits him on the head, and there's this whole like fucking scuffle situation. The fuck happens? I think he passes out. This whole, like, I was speed reading this last chunk, but he is now completely taken over, and between Wendy and Danny, she's like, that's not your dad anymore. Like, he's getting to a point where that's no longer your dad. That's the hotel. And so now they're like under this whole thing that he's now taken over, and it's no longer him.
I do have to say this real quick. Danny has called Halloran several times, because he's not sure if the hotel is letting it go, because the hotel, or the Overlook won't let Tony in anymore.
Yeah,
so he's not sure if Halloran can hear him, but he has called Halloran with their connected shine, and Halloran is coming.
Halloran, yeah. So what we haven't talked about is that since that's happening, Halloran, we get these cuts of Halloran leaving Florida, finding a hotel, finding a plane that will take him, getting a speeding ticket for going too fast, getting to Boulder. Halloran is traveling almost this entire time. Like, as soon as, because I think this all like hits a headway on either the end of November or December 1st.
December 1st is when it happens, because Danny calls Halloran on December 1st, because it's the first day of December.
Was it
December? And December 2nd was the date that he saw in the premonition.
I just thought I couldn't remember if he called Halloran earlier or not.
No.
And so
he said, Halloran says, on the first day of December.
Oh yeah. And Halloran's like living his life in Florida, and he just made his will and all of the stuff, and he's like, well, fuck. I guess that's why like everything pushed me to make a will now. I might not be coming out of this alive. But so Halloran has been coming. Danny has been sending out these like huge wave blasts. Halloran says that he is the strongest shine he's ever seen. And Halloran has a shine, like a good shine, but not as strong as Danny's. So he can't speak back to Danny. And so Danny doesn't know if Halloran's hearing him. So the entire time this is going down, that's also happening. Somehow they like separate again. I think they go back up to the room, or she sends Danny up to the room. She stabs Jack in the back. So the next chunk is a little wonky. I think there's a little bit of a time break again where like they get separated because he goes and gets the roquette mallet. Or what did you call it? Roque mallet from the shed. And this is his weapon of choice. And this is the banging that Danny has heard in his nightmares. This is his dad wandering around the hotel fucking yelling at him to take his medicine, that he's a useless pup, smashing shit with the roquette mallet. Or the Roque mallet. Well, skipping to just the meat of everything that's happening, they fight. Wendy and Jack fight. He breaks her ribs with the mallet, hits her on the head, snaps a vertebrae in her back. She stabs him in the back with a butcher knife, and he is like bleeding out as she's crawling up the stairs to get back to their room. And he stands up and he's like, "You killed me, bitch. I'll kill you for it." And so he's literally bleeding to death with a knife in his back, and this is where she's like, "That's no longer Jack. Like whatever it is, it's not him." And so he's fucking slashing shit up. And while that is happening inside, Halloran has gotten to the hotel. He ran into 3 other people who had like a light shine to them. He got a snowmobile. He almost crashed his car. He's gotten up there and he is now fighting the topiary. The lions have come out and they're slashing at his ankles and slashing at his back and doing all of this stuff and blah blah blah. Oh, we did forget to mention like that's what triggered Danny to tell the truth about the shine and stuff, is because he got attacked by the topiary outside and it freaks Jack out because he's like, oh fuck, it wasn't a hallucination. But so now Halloran is fighting the topiary, trying to get inside, and while that is happening, like while he's on the edge before they can hear the snowmobile, Jack it's doing like the iconic scene of him trying to get into the caretaker room. He doesn't have an axe, he has the Roque mallet and is hitting it, and she can't find Danny. The door was open and Danny's gone, and she's like, he heard us because of the shine, like he knows exactly what's happening and now he's hiding. Fuck. She's like, where is he? She puts a dresser in front of the door trying to like keep Jack out as much as possible. And he is not under the bed. He's not in the closet. She can't fucking find him. And she's like, I just have to pray he's safe. And he breaks through the first door. And so she locks herself in the bathroom. She's like, there's not a fucking weapon in here. And she finally scrounges through the medicine cabinet and gets a razor blade dispenser, pulls out a razor blade. So when he's like breaking through the door, trying to unlock it, she's slashing at his hand every time he's trying to get in. And while that's happening, they hear the big, the snowmobile that's come up to the house, and he's like, fuck. And then we hear some superlative, slurs and shit. And he runs down and she's like, oh my God, whew, I'm alive. This is great. She's like, oh fuck, Danny. And she's got broken ribs and a broken vertebrae and is now bleeding all over her hands from these fucking razor blades. Well, Danny was able to get a hold of Tony again. And then you find out Tony is an older version of himself. His name is Daniel Anthony Torrance. And so Tony is like, it's still a part of him. And Tony's like, the hotel, like, this is the last time I'm going to be here. And like, I am you. We're the same person. You don't need me. You've got this. Like, you're okay. And he's like, no, Tony, like, I need your help. And he's like, the hotel won't let me help you anymore. Like, you're kind of on your own. You can do this though. So he ended up on the 3rd floor, just like in his dreams. His whole thing is like, oh, I can go up into the attic. Like, he runs to the end of the hallway and there's locked doors and he's like, oh, the attic, there should be a little stick. Do you go up there? Well, Jack put a padlock on it, on the attic, because he's like, I don't want my son getting any grand ideas of going fucking up there. And so he gets this whole thing. It was like he's going back and forth, right? And Halloran finally gets in to the hotel. Jack beats the shit out of Halloran, and he's already beat the shit up from the topiary. He sets one of the lions on fire with the gas can from the snowmobile. He gets inside. He set his arm on fire, and luckily, like, plunged it in the snow before the gas could wear off and like actually burn his flesh. So he's bleeding from his back, his ass, and his calves. Like, the lion just like fucking clawed the shit out of him. So he gets inside. And then Jack beats the shit out of him with the mallet, hitting him, like, conking him on the head, conking him on the side. So he's like $600 worth of dental work down the drain because he just knocked his fucking jaw. there is wild. It's a lot. Like, this scene would have been really cool to, like, because of how hectic it gets with everything. And Wendy crawls out of the bedroom, and they meet up in the hallway, and they're like, oh my god. And Jack, I think now Jack is upstairs, so after he kicks Holleran's ass, then he goes to find Danny, because he's like, if I kill Danny, then I can, because the hotel is now convincing him that again, like you said, Danny is the root cause of the problem, but if he kills them, he can maybe one day be the manager of the hotel. Mm-hmm. Like, it's giving him this little, like, carrot of, oh, but you're so good manager material.
Yeah, you have leadership qualities.
Yes.
All you have to do is get your fucking wife and kid in line.
Mm-hmm. And this is, like, Wendy is saying that, I said this earlier, that Danny is a battery. Like, his shine is so bright, it's feeding the hotel, it's making it, like, bigger. And we get that from Halloran when he shows up and he's like, the hotel has never been this bad. How is it feeling like this? Mm-hmm. Like, it's feeding off of Danny's shine.
Well, and when in the conversation that Grady and Jack have, Grady's like, no, we want your son. Mm-hmm. And he's like, but why? You can have me. I'm here. Why would you want him when you can have me? And they're like, no, you're great too, but we want him.
So if you bring us him, then we'll take you. Yeah. So kill your son, and then we'll take you, mm-hmm. type deal. So this whole thing happens, and Danny has this whole moment where he just, like, has to buck the fuck up. And he looks at his dad, who's running at him with the mallet, and is like, that's a false face. This is just a mask. You're not my daddy. Mm-hmm. And, like, there's some build up to that before, and he's, like, understanding that if he calls something fake and he's calling it out and he's not giving it energy, it kind of breaks down. And so while Jack is running at him, he's like, you're not my dad. You're a false face. And the guy, like, Jack's body stops and he's like, if I'm not your dad, who am I? And, like, it's starting to, like, break this facade, and Danny's able to get through to him being like, you're a false face, you're not my dad, blah, 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 like, just talking him down until this thing, like, collapses, and he's, like, watching the mask fall, and he's like, whatever is in there is not my dad. Mm-hmm. This whole time in the back of his head, he's like, you have to remember what your dad forgot, what is it? And then he finally remembers as, like, his dad collapses, this thing collapses, and he's like, you forgot about the boiler. And the thing gets up and starts screaming, no, 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 like, and gets in the elevator and runs down to the boiler room. And Danny has to run to Halloran and Wendy and be like, we have to leave. Everything's going to explode. We need to get out of here. Well, they're beat the fuck up. Wendy's in her night clothes, and Danny doesn't have shoes on, or boots on. Sorry, I just spit on you. So Danny runs into the room, grabs boots and clothes in real fast, and they're trying to, like, bundle up, and he, like, tells Halloran they have to go, so Halloran's like, oh my god, the boiler. So he, like, picks up Wendy as much as he can and, like, hoists Danny, and they're, like, stumbling out of the door while fake Jack is in the boiler room, and it's, like, expanding. Like we mentioned earlier, he forgot it one time, and it got up to, like, 180, and he said he could see the smoke coming out and the beads melting and that kind of stuff. Well, it's at, like, 200 something. Mm-hmm. And remember what Watson, the maintenance guy, said, I wouldn't stand next to this thing if it hit over 190 or something. Mm-hmm. And so he gets down there and he fucking spins the thing just in time, and he's like, I got it, like, I got it before it's there. And he doesn't have it before it got there. So he releases it and it fucking explodes. And he gets exploded, and then it starts exploding the entire hotel, and the shockwave is so great that Halloran, Wendy, and Danny get blasted out the front door into the snow. And Halloran's laying there, and he's like, the only thought I had was, like, I didn't think about Wendy, I didn't think about the boy, all I thought about was looking up and seeing it end, and watching it burn. So the whole hotel catches on fire. Jack is obviously dead, and they have to still get out. Mm-hmm. So this is when Halloran notices how they're dressed. And so they get on to the snowmobile, and Wendy's like, I can't do it. And he's like, you don't have a choice. Like, you're getting on here. We're getting the fuck out of here. And they go around to the side shed to get some old horse blankets because they have to have something. Otherwise, they're going to freeze to death. And they bundle up, and some more, like, he's like, you have to look like an Arab. And I'm like, oh my God, mm-hmm. What is with you? Why can't you just say normal people words? Mm-hmm. But okay. And halfway down, like, they watch it explode, and then the shed catches on fire. Everything's catching on fire, and they're driving away on a snowmobile. And halfway to Sidewinder, like, they have 20 miles left till Sidewinder, they get met by a bunch of the people that Halloran met on the way, who the guy who rented him the snowmobile, the snowplow driver who gave him the gloves, like all of these people like met them, and they have the doctor. They were like, fuck, like we let him go by himself and that's not fair. And so they were like coming to meet him, so they were able to meet halfway and like get Wendy and everyone care. And then time jumps. That's the end of that chapter, and it goes to the summertime where Halloran is at a new hotel, being a great chef, and Wendy and Danny, or he rented Wendy and Danny a little cabin at this like resort there's at, and Wendy is in a back brace, like she's healing, but it's like I think it's like April, and so it's like 6 months later or whatever, but she's in like a back brace, and he's like, she was a girl when I met her, and now she's a woman who has seen shit. Like you can just see the laughter drain from her face, and like how much she's like just grown from all of this stuff. And they're living off of like the life insurance money and a settlement from the hotel, because the fire marshal said it was a faulty boiler and that Jack died heroically trying to turn it off.
Oh yeah, well, and then he died in a fire, so she got $80,000 for it.
He got the life insurance money from him, and then a settlement from the hotel, and so they're living okay right now, like while she can heal and find a job. What she says is like, Al offered her a job somewhere up in Maine, and she's probably going to take it when she's fully healed, and her and Danny can have a good life once they're up there. And Danny is off fishing, and Halloran goes to talk to him, and he's like, you're gonna still want to be my friend, right? And we're still going to talk and stuff. And Halloran says, we have a connection that like can't be broken. Even if I wanted to, I don't think I could. Pretty much. And he's like, I'm going to say this once this way, and then I will never say it again. And he's like, shit is rough. And this is where like a whole misogynistic thing where he's like, you got to grieve your daddy, but you do it in a closet. You do it under the covers. You cry and do all that kind of stuff.
You're Sean.
All that stuff like behind closed doors, but you grieve him however you need to, and I'm here for you. Because like Wendy wants to forget the whole thing that happened, and Danny's still having nightmares and all this kinds of stuff about it, and he can't move past it, so the only person he can talk to about it is Dick, Mr. Halloran. And then at the end there's an excerpt of Dr. Sleep. Dr. Sleep was written in 2013, so years after, and I haven't read it. But I don't like the direction that he went for Danny. So Danny ends up becoming an alcoholic as well to deal with the trauma of everything that had happened, which makes sense. But it also seems like he kind of forgot that Al was supposed to give her a job, because they're like living in a really shitty rundown apartment. Like, I don't know. It's a little weird for me.
Interesting. But is there the part where Danny gets taken over in the book?
What do you mean?
Danny isn't here anymore, Mrs. Torrance. Danny is gone.
No.
Red rum.
No, because the red rum thing is an actor choice.
Red rum.
So Danny, the actor, that's how Tony was portrayed in the movie, because that's like how they could differentiate between Tony and him, but he doesn't get taken over in the book. But yeah, it's a book, if not in a bad way, it's just like it's a slog to get through. If you can get through that first like 200 pages of it being a slog,
I will say, yeah, because like I was reading this, I read 700 pages of book. I read 500 of them last night. So
yeah, like once
you can power through it, it's pretty. I think it's a good read.
Yeah. No, Garrett really likes this book, and I didn't think I was going to like it, but I did. It's just, there are rough aspects of it, the racial slurring, the misogynistic and sexist aspects.
I know, I keep touching the mic as well. Yeah, there's just like a lot of stuff that's kind of rough in it, and I don't know when this book was written.
I don't know, the 80s, 70s? And I'm pretty sure this is his coked out phase, so...
Yeah, I was saying, so there is a lot of it that I feel like we can give leeway to, because it was just a fucking sign of the times.
Yeah, I hate that phrase.
So do I.
Yes, it was written in a time frame where the shit still wasn't okay, but it was normalized.
Yeah.
And so that's part of it. It's a classic for a reason, right? Like, the movie sticks in everyone's head. The book is pretty different, but they're really memorable scenes. That topiary scene's gonna stick with me. That shit is wild.
No, So sorry. Overall, I really enjoyed it.
Can you tell we woke up and started recording as we're yawning and my tummy's growling? And
I haven't heard your tummy. You just
really?
outed yourself.
Oh, no. So, yes, no, I do recommend, if you guys haven't read it, to read it. Get it from your local library. We got lucky. We could not find it at our local library, actually. That's why we had to do the e-readers, because they were all checked out at the 3 libraries that are around us.
Mm-hmm.
The e-reader, I got it, and then like 7 people put it on hold right after I rented it. Like, it's popular for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I would say, his most iconic book.
I would say so, honestly. Well, I mean, it's kind of hard because he has so many that I think The Shining is a big staple, but like I feel like it's just what's the word? Genres of people?
What?
I know, like
genres of people.
Like I feel like The Shining is just like it's like what like I grew up on. But like my dad, like if you would ask my dad, Carrie was his most iconic work.
Oh, I see. Like the generations.
Well, yeah, or just different subsects of people, right?
Mm.
Because I grew up on The Shining because that's what my mom liked. Like that was what her thing. So I think it just like he has so many that I don't know if I could say like this is his most like
influential
or most iconic, but like it's pretty up there. It's a big one.
Yeah. So, read it. Did we figure out how to end these yet?
No.
How did we end it last time?
I don't know. Okay, bye. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Follow our Instagram and Threads at No Self Service Pod. Until next time.